Today is the 31st of July 2020. My name is Kwame Owusu Danso. Undoubtedly, it is a special edition of the morning show. And, because today is a holiday, it's a public holiday, and we are supposed to observe it as such. Today is Eid al-Adha. And we are celebrating our Muslim brothers today. We are celebrating them and celebrating with them today. And so we are going to obviously make sure that we engage in some act of giving and some act of sacrifice. All right. So today is a special day, sacrosanct one for that matter, and we are duly observing that. But in doing that, we also owe it to you, our great service, and to ensure that we always apprise you with what is happening in this country. We must always try to inform you about what is transpiring in Ghana, especially because the elections are not far out of sight. And so we must at all material times ensure that we give you all the information that you require in order that you'll be informed, in order that you can also create your own level of understanding regarding who you're going to vote for in the 2020 election and who you are not going to vote for in the 2020 election. We are only here to aid you and to guide you to make that informed decision and to make that progressive decision that will inure to the general benefit and well-being of our dear nation, Ghana. And so, that is why we're here today. We're here to serve you, and we're here to have an interactive show. We're going to make sure that whatever it is that you put across, we will be able to read them for you. Today is a holiday, it's a special edition. I will try and read as many messages as possible. So don't hesitate at all. Don't hesitate at all in sending in your messages, your views, your comments, your thoughts, your disagreements to the morning show. And our WhatsApp number, I'm sure you're very much aware, is active. If you're not aware of the number, then let me just tell you, 026-084-6539, 026-084-6539. And we are also streaming live on Facebook, facebook.com/Pan-African Television. We are also streaming live on YouTube, youtube.com/Pan-African Television. Let me say a special good morning to Bernard Mona. Bernard Ambataila Mona is on the grounds. He is campaigning for victory in the 2020 election. In fact, he wants to be the member of parliament for Nadoli Kalio constituency, and we are all supporting him. Indeed, he has paid his dues, and he has to represent the people of Nadoli Kalio in parliament. We need people who have a better understanding of the country's political, atmosphere and the country's democratic experiment and governance experiment, etc., to be able to lead its people in parliament and to be able to argue out, matters that will benefit the people of Nadoli Kalio. Bernard Mona certainly is the man, and we're supporting him all the way. So please make sure that you vote for Bernard Mona in the 2020 elections to represent the good people of Nadoli Kalio constituency. Having said that, I think it's imperative to also salute the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, together with the ministers and all persons who have been appointed by government and are being paid with the taxpayers' money. We'd like to salute you this morning. We'd like to encourage you to do more. We'd like to give you a certain shoulder of support and a certain tongue of motivation that you have to make sure that you deliver on your promises, such that the Ghanaian people will have confidence in this particular government and any other government that will come after this particular MPP administration. So a special good morning going out to you, Mr. President. We know you are alive, we know you are well, and we wish you all the best. We wish you a very wonderful and a successful day. We pray that Allah continues to shower his blessings on you. Pray that Allah continues to keep you alive and safe for us in order that you can also manage the nation on behalf of the people of Ghana. Let me also say a special good morning going out to you, Alhaji Baba Seidu. Alhaji Baba Seidu is undoubtedly the incoming MP. The incoming MP for Nalerugu Gambaga. Listen to me very closely. The incoming MP for Nalerugu Gambaga constituency in the Northeast region. Alhaji Baba Seidu, I'd like to also wish you a special Eid al-Adha you are watching us this morning, even if you aren't, I'm sure there are people who are monitoring us closely, and they will definitely relay this information to you, that we are wishing you a very wonderful Eid al-Adha on Pan-African television. And to all our Muslim brothers, AU Farouk, Musa Abattoir, Landlord Bolga D-Line, and there's a special place in Tamale called the 64 Bench. I'd like to wish them a special Eid al-Adha today. And all of you watching us from Wale Wale to Bolgatanga to Wa Central, to Tamale Central, to Tamale North, to wherever, Sagnarugu, Nalerugu, Savelugu, everywhere that you are watching us, to Cape Coast, Mankesim, Takrade, Ifiekuma, everywhere, Lubo, Axim, Elembele, Broahafo, Drobo, everywhere. We'd like to say thank you and welcome aboard. To the people in the Volta region, I love you. And to the people in the Eastern and Ashanti regions, we love you as well. And to the people in Greater Accra region, we love you very, very dearly. And to all of you watching us outside of our jurisdiction, we also like to say thank you for choosing Pan-African Television. I've spoken a lot. It's enough. Let me now introduce my panelists for today before I introduce the topics. I have here seated with us the indefatigable, the heavyweight champion, the Mugabe of Sagnarugu constituency, the one who controls, that particular enclave. And if you want to even win an election and you are from the opposition party, if he says, okay, the opposition party must win, which I know will never happen, you can win. When he says, okay, I'm endorsing you, you are from the other side, but I'm endorsing you, you will win. He's here seated. Honorable ABA Fuseni Alhaji is here seated. It's been a while. So, I'm sure you can appreciate why I'm exhilarated in introducing, this wonderful politician of our time who obviously has a lot to teach. And in fact, I have to start fighting with him. He has to open a school so that he'll be teaching the younger ones how to communicate and how to engage in very positive politics that will be progressive and that will be beneficial to the democratic experiment that we are engaged in as a nation. Good morning to you, Honorable Ebi Fuseni.
Good morning.
How are you doing, my boss?
Alhamdulillah. And I want to wish you and all Ghanaians and our brother Muslims and sisters, Muslim brothers and sisters, a happy Eid al-Adha, prosperous year, and may Allah Almighty use this occasion to make Ghana a better place. Inshallah, by His grace, by next year, around this time, inshallah, the much needed change that Ghanaians are crying for would have been realized, would have materialized, and we will have at the helm of affairs of this nation not only a God-fearing president, but a president who is sensitive to the needs and aspirations of our people. A president who feels for the people. A president who is not only democratic, but a president who has the wherewithal to ensure that the aspirations of Ghanaians are met.
Thank you.
And I know by the grace of Allah, and by this occasion of Eid al-Adha, the feast of sacrifice and the supreme sacrifices that our forefathers from the time of Prophet Ibrahim, when he wanted to sacrifice his son Ismail on the altar for the supreme sacrifice, paid the highest price, and for the obeisance, Allah Almighty gave him his infinite blessing. I believe that Allah Almighty will look on pity with Ghanaians for the 4 years of suffering that we've gone through under this hopelessly uninspiring government, and turn the fortunes of this nation around.
What are the introduction?
His President Mahama and Professor Jean Nana Opoku-Agyebang, bam, to the helm of affairs.
If I were
this nation from its
if I were an examiner, I would have marked you 100% even before starting. And also here seated is,
of course, the Brichina people of the Sanaru.
Oh, of course. It goes without saying. It goes without saying.
You cannot.
It goes without
I want
saying.
to salute them, and on this occasion, to wish them Almighty Allah's blessings. And may the coming year be prosperous for everybody.
Fantastic. We also have here seated our own political and governance expert. He's also a philosopher and a lecturer who has been continuously aiding in our discourse and ensuring that he brings some varied perspectives to the conversation that we've been having here in the studios of Pan-African Television regarding the democracy and governance process that we've been experimenting over the period. Dr. Marzouk is also here seated. Good morning to you, Doc.
Good morning, sir.
And how are you doing?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. We'll have a special introduction for the Eid al-Adha celebration. So sure. I just want to leave it for now.
Right.
Let me also introduce this morning a fine young man who has a very promising future. He is the shining star of the CPP. He is the young Muhammad Ali of Ghana's politics. He is the young Floyd Mayweather of Ghana's politics. He is the young Kwesi Pratt Jr. of Ghana's politics. In one person. and certainly he is gunning for the national organizer position of the CPP.
That's right.
The great CPP.
That's right.
The glorious Convention People's Party.
That's right.
The party that won our independence for us, but for some very weird reasons was banned from partaking in any political activity.
Yeah, that's right.
Good morning to you, Yirimambo Moses Ambing.
Thank you, my brother.
And you are winning. Look, did I say you are winning or you have won?
I've won. Inshallah.
Oh, no,
by the grace of the Almighty Allah, he has won.
He has won.
Thank you.
This is a guy who has paid his dues.
Amen.
You know, Kwame, you know the love for a party.
That's right.
When you are in opposition.
That's right.
When you are in your darkest, most difficult moments.
That's right.
That's when the true love for the party is.
That's right.
Because there are some who go and sell your party to others.
That's right.
Take some money and put it in their pockets. And go along with them.
It's a hefty penny. There's a problem like that.
For a mess of potash.
If you sell something.
If you sell yourself for half penny, they'll buy you for nothing.
All right. So
that is when you know this young man has walked the talk of the CPP. He has been in the trenches.
That's right.
And I want to recommend him to CPP people that these are the dedicated and competent people that they need to lead the CPP back to the days of the
because some of us we want to join the thing, but this organization, how do I jam that to here?
I was
asking about the organization. What their promises to organize?
Drive all the no-curfew people away. Bring the ones.
All right. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time this morning. Now, we're going to be discussing these issues here. Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman's store of the Central Region and how the people were receptive. We're also going to be juxtaposing that really with Nana Akufo-Addo's store of the Northern Region. We are also going to be discussing the mid-year review budget and the truths. You know, that's how we've captioned it. The mid-year review budget. The truths and untruths. And also, finally, we're going to be looking at election 2020 and its related matters, because we do know that elections are not far out of sight unless something happens to frustrate the process. You know, something very devastating, very ravaging happens to truncate, you know, that particular process. We are definitely going to go into the 2020 elections this year. And so we need to also begin to have conversations that will lead to a better understanding of the electoral process and the ramifications that may arise if it is not conducted in a manner that is suitable for all Ghanaians. Sure. And so this is what has informed us this morning to pick this particular topic, so that we can judge, so that we can have a broader conversation, so that we can, if it becomes very possible, to proffer some solutions to some of the unavoidable mistakes that we've made, or in fact avoidable mistakes that we've made relative to the election, the processes that are leading to the December 7th polls. So we are starting immediately with the two topics that I've decided to box together. And I believe that we can dispatch those two with immediacy. Sure. And so I want us to discuss Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman's store. First of all, I don't think I've had honorable comment on the appointment, the nomination, the election, the selection of Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman as the running mate to His Excellency, former President of the Republic of Ghana and the leader and flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama. And so I think that I need to give you some time to discuss, in fact, to just open your statement on this subject matter, and then you zoom into the conversation of her trip to the central region, how people received her, all the negative things that were said, all the rebuttals, all the disagreements, all the confusions, and everything relating to her appointment. Honorable, let me start with you.
Yeah, Kwame, I in the immediate aftermath of her appointment, I'm sure we were here.
Okay,
we had the opportunity to.
But I think it was brief.
Yes.
Yes.
But, Kwame, I've always said that the calf that will grow to the status of the lead bull in the head is identified the day it is born. This is a woman who was cut for greatness.
Mm.
And in all the spheres of endeavor she has functioned, she has almost been a first in all those spheres of endeavor. So, Kwame,
yes,
without any iota of doubt, I'd like again to congratulate His Excellency President Mahama for a wonderful choice. Kwame, the choice of a running mate is very crucial, not only to determining the fortunes of the party, but also the government. Today, after so much propaganda, falsehood, and blatant lies, you see, Kwame, you can do propaganda and get the power, but you will be exposed by the reality of the politics of the day. Today, Kwame, why I'm excited about the choice of Professor Nana is that the presidency is not just the vice presidency. The vice presidency and by extension the presidency, Kwame, has suffered a big jolt of confidence. Ghanaians' confidence in the presidency has waned. There's a significant or substantial credibility deficit with the presidency today. And especially when the president, the vice president, and others speak, it must command some dignity and respect that people can look up to and say that this coming from the father of the nation and others is the truth. But Kwame, that is not the case today. A lot of them, like I've said before, some of them, when they even greet you good morning, you have to look at the position of the sun before you respond. Because even the weather, they can lie against the weather, which is clear for everybody to see. So, Kwame, you need to bring more dignity and respect back to the presidency so that it can command the aura of respect of the people. That people can say when this has been spoken by our president, by our vice president, and others, that is it. But Kwame, if I were to go through the litany of things that have been said that have ultimately proven false, only God knows. We won't finish today. And Kwame, I am so excited that ever since Professor Jane has been chosen, Kwame, there were people who were recruited to dig debt.
Frank for me.
Kwame, they have dug the debt and now they themselves, they have been buried in the debt. They haven't discovered any debt they can find and throw against that mistake. Kwame, how many of these politicians on the other side, Kwame, those people there, you don't need to dig the debt. They have to be excavated from debt. They are inundated in debt. Kwame, within these 3.5 to get to 4 years, you can't count the number of scandals and debt, issues of corruption, malfeasance, graft that you can bring against the leadership of this, the MPP and the government today. So Kwame, that is where the aura, that is where the importance of the choice of Professor Nana, for me, speaks out in clear and my mask. So Kwame,
sorry, I just want us to get more. So
yes,
yeah, you can
wait. I thought you had a problem with
no, not at all. I mean, it's very clear, audible.
Yes.
I just wanted all of us to wait. So I'm asking them to bring us more.
Okay.
Yeah. So please, you can put it back on.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So Kwame, I can say without any iota of doubt
Very comfortable.
that it is a fantastic choice by His Excellency President Mahama. And you see, Kwame, you don't show an indigene the way to his house. You see, and our people have also said that when you make the vulture your delegate, you don't show it the villages again.
Yeah.
The competence is already there. So no wonder the professor is beginning to exhibit the qualities, her sterling qualities, for which she has always been known and for which she was chosen by President Mahama. And I can tell you without doubt that there's already panic in the ranks of the MPP. This one is the scorpion. The snake is coming. Coming. It's just started. And I listened to a tape of, I don't know, the Omahini. Is it the Omahini? Charlie, correct me if I'm not, because I'm not a can. Cape Coast.
Central region, yeah. The Omahini.
No, Cape Coast. Nanam Brab the fifth or what? The paramount this of Cape Coast.
Yeah, Cape Coast. Yeah.
When the good prof went to pay a courtesy call. I mean, you could hear that when somebody is speaking genuinely about somebody, you can see it, and you could feel the strength of the virtues of Prof when the chief was receiving her at his palace. And Kwame, it speaks volumes of the commitment and the patronage by the people of the central region of her maiden visit to the year after her choice. Kwame, that is why I'm saying that not only has it shaken the roof of the MPP, but today I can tell you without any out of doubt, Kwame, they are in a state of panic, struggling to see how they can come to terms with that choice and be able to deal with it so that it doesn't pose the threat that it is to their political fortunes across the length and breadth of the country. So Kwame, I have no doubt that she has already hit the ground running. And by the grace of Allah Almighty, it is going to inure to the benefit not just of the NDC, but this country as a whole, that is crying for decent leadership, for dedicated and committed leadership. A leadership that is not interested in what goes into their pockets, but to the ordinary, downtrodden, marginalized, oppressed, and disadvantaged people on the ground. Kwame, who stood in the hot sun, elected Nana Akufo-Addo, who made a plethora of promises and has come, instead of dealing with even the welfare of the people, he's rather dealing with the welfare of his members and his government. Kwame, go read the preface to the manifesto of the 2016 MPP. He said he had walked the length and breadth of the country and he had seen difficult lives of Ghanaians. That when he comes, he will operate a government of example, a government of austerity, a government of sacrifice.
Yep.
So even before he could operate a government, he could deal with the sacrifices of the people. Look at the most opulent, the most extravagant, the most obese, the most expansive and expensive government in the history of our country. 130 something ministers. Kwame, I just said, look, and that is how nations will judge you. You go to China, cap in hand, to beg for money, and you have a government of a size of over 120 something ministers. Kwame, China, that we are going to beg from, has only 22 ministers. 22 ministers.
Yeah.
You are operating over 100, getting closer to 130 ministers. And you are going there to come and beg, to come and service your 130 ministers from a government of 22 ministers. That clearly tells you a story that if you are thinking right, something is not right with you unless you are working logic on his head. So Kwame, it is very clear that this country needs a change of direction, and that the change that we had in 2016 has been a disaster. Kwame, I have always said that you don't realize the importance of your buttocks until you have a boil on it. You see, when it comes to the chair, you yes it. Is that not the case?
Absolutely.
But if you get boil on it, you calculate.
You calculate how to sit.
The angle at which you sit and your posture you adopt. Kwame, that is how it is. Yeah. Ghanaians are realizing the importance of President Mahama and especially the aggressive infrastructure development. Why? The MPP people have been disputing a lot of the infrastructure. They said a lot of the infrastructure we did was in the Green Book. I'm happy today that even when coronavirus struck, some of them were sleeping in the Green Book. The University of Ghana Medical School, which is a center of medical excellence.
You mean page 26 of the Green Book?
Yeah, they are sleeping MPP people. A lot of the people who are there are MPP people. If you go there, go and count the population of those who have gone through that place. Those who have graduated from the University of Ghana Medical Center. And the fresh undergraduates who are entering. Do their total distance and see where the majority of the people are coming from. Okay? But these were people who disputed that that facility never existed. They existed in the Green Book. So today they are sleeping in the Green Book. Thank God. You see, Almighty Allah doesn't make mistakes. So that's why I said that. That's why he allowed President Mahama to step aside for Ghanaians to see. And thankfully, nobody said it better than Nana Akufo-Addo himself when he went to the voter region. You remember the statement he made? He said, Ghanaians brought the MPP so that God Almighty brought MPP so that Ghanaians can better appreciate the NDC. This was Nana Akufo-Addo's own. He said it then. He said, hey. You remember that statement? So no mean a person that Nana Akufo-Addo himself has lent credence to the development the NDC has brought to this country. So you see, it's comparison that disgraces a donkey. When the donkey alone is running, you think it's the fastest, and let the horse join the race. And today you see the comparison of the records. Kwame, when we were just talking about even the health sector, the hospitals, in almost 4 years that the MPP is getting to, they haven't built a single hospital. Single one. Ekome, Dakakulo. They haven't. Nana Akufo-Addo promised 350 brand new secondary schools. Zero. I remember the government in the aftermath of this coronavirus promised Ghanaians that the 88 hospitals that he said he was going to build, they are going to start it this year. You remember? When Ken Ofori-Atta, the Honorable Finance Minister, came before the House, Yamutu, he came and announced the death of those hospitals. He said it is going to await the second term of Nana Akufo-Addo. Who is going to give him a second term for him to come and mess up the country as they are doing?
But he is cut short for the Eastern Regional Hospital.
He said we were going to build 88 hospitals. Kwame. And don't be impressed about short cutting. Okay. Why? This government is notorious for such activities. They go and cut the thing, and why? Well, even some of the so-called one district, one factory, they cut shorts. And if you go there, it was a playground for antelopes and deers. We're not doing anything there. So it's not about cutting the short. It's about actual work being done there. And this is a government that promised that it was going to build all those hospitals or commence the building of those hospitals. When the finance minister came, he announced the death knell of it and indicated that this one will not be done this year. Okay? So, for the record of this government, a special abysmal in the area of infrastructure. Kwame, why would Ghanaians give this government a second term? To do what? Kwame, this is a government that has had the highest level of revenue or resources available to it. Kwame, an estimated 300 billion Ghana cedis or more. And maybe when we come to discuss the mid-year review, some of these other issues will this is the government that has had the highest quantum of resources available. Yet look at what they have done with that. Just ask yourself, what have they done with that money? When you ask them about rules, they say free senior high school. You ask them about the depth of infrastructure in the health sector. They say senior high school. You ask them that there's not sufficient development of classroom blocks and other infrastructure to do.
What would you say instead of that? Yeah.
See, our people say that when it has to take a goat to bite and drive away the intruder is the shame of the dog. Okay? Because the dog has failed in its garden role. We are touting Dr. Bawumia as an economist. And even that one, there are arguments about whether he's a political economist or he's a social economist and not a typical economist. I'll leave that argument for now. But I'm saying that, Kwame, the evidence of the sweetness of a pudding is in the eating. His stature as an economist, where has it led to any economic prosperity and development for Ghanaians? Kwame, take all those indices that you are talking about. And I want to place this on record that even before coronavirus struck, our economy was in the doldrums. It was struggling. We had posted a deficit of over 7% to GDP. Okay? Those were the figures they were hiding until the IMF indicated that it was questioning those figures that they had given. Kwame, so it is not just coronavirus that has rendered our economy so difficult for Ghanaians today. It had been so before even the deficit. And Kwame, it was Dr. Bawumia who told us. In opposition, they said they were going to match the dollar CD for CD. And at a point indicated that they had even arrested the dollar and given the key to the IGP. Today, they have ruined many businesses because of the runaway dollar. Okay? Now, today their record on the exchange rate is nothing to write home about. It's a crying shame. Okay? Kwame, this is a government that said, and Dr. Bawumia said, he had worked in the Bank of Ghana, and he knew that the resources were here. The president himself told us, yeti sikasu, you should come here. Alai.
That's true.
Ne yeti sika bebresu, you should come here. He said, yeti sikasu, come here. Ne yeti sika bebresu, you should come here. Under him, under his watch. And they had started the decision that borrowing was an act of lazy governance. Kwame. And that when they come to power, they will not borrow. Kwame. When we come to this, you
yes.
say our debt figures.
So let's
flattening debt figures.
Yeah, so let's leave it. Let's leave it
at this time.
Yeah.
So Kwame, I'm just indicating to you that that is where I said that from the very beginning that the presidency has suffered a huge credibility deficit.
Yeah.
With the choice of Professor Nana, the dignity and the aura of respect that she commands will restore that dignity to the president.
Bro. Thank you very much.
And the sterling qualities that she has.
Okay.
It's beginning to reflect in the work that she started already.
All right. Thank you very much. Honorable Obifse, thank you very much. Well, let me remind you again that the WhatsApp number is active. It's 0260846539. We're also streaming live on Facebook, facebook.com/Pan-African Television. You can share with us what your thoughts are either via WhatsApp or text number or on our Facebook platform. I will read them here for you. Today is a special edition of the Good Morning Africa show, which is why we've started a little early than we would normally do. And so, please, don't hesitate at all to share with us your views and comments. I will read them all for you. As many as I can, I will make sure that I read them. Let me now come to our political and governance expert, Dr. Marzouk.
Good morning to the cherished viewers of ours, and thanks for the opportunity. Special greetings to the people of Nanton. Happy Eid to fellow Muslims. Eid Mubarak. كل عام وأنتم بخير ونسأله المولى أن يوفقنا جميعا وأن يتقبل دعاءنا بجاه من أرسله رحمة للعالمين. Great. But Kwame, let me also, with all due respect, say that I am a mere lecturer, not a governance and analyst. I mean, not me. Yes. This is Eid al-Adha, and today I do remember His Excellency, the former Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Alhaji Ali Mahama. This would have been a day when his residence would have been open to all people the poor and the rich, the young and the old, the strong and the weak. Today he is no more. It should be a great lesson to all of us, especially those responsible for positions of leadership in this country. Let me take this opportunity to congratulate His Excellency, the current Vice President Alhaji Dr. Bawumia, who has not just inherited the position of Ali Muhammad, but has also contributed to the governance of this country. I think he represents the activeness of the youth, the competence of scholars, and the hope for the generation of the youth and for the generation yet unborn. Again, as a Muslim, I do commend the Pan-Africa for acting within the confines of patriotism and Islam. Eid al-Adha is not only a matter of sacrifice, it is also a day of reflection. And for you to mount this program, for us to indulge in national discourse, you are competently acting within the confines of Islam. If you consider the etymological narrative of the word Adha, that is sacrifice, you will agree with me that it is more for reflection than for enjoyment. Fellow Muslims, let us take this opportunity to reflect more, to contribute to the governance of this country, to be part of nation builders, to be part of securing the future of the youth, the future of this country. And I believe that by the grace of Almighty Allah, we shall shine and we shall succeed. Professor Nana Jane Opoku Agyemang is undoubtedly a woman of integrity, a personality of international repute, an accomplished academic. Let me add that she represents a new dawn of sanity in our democratic polity. Today I'm copying your rhyming. A new dawn of sanity in our democratic polity. So we expect her to continue to exhibit such a quality. Very good, an accomplished academic, as I've already said, and her choice will definitely enhance the quality of democratic governance in this country. Because this is an academic who is seen as somebody who might not even be interested in the kind of politics prevailing in this country. Very, 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 very respectable. But she has decided to be part of the political system to enhance the quality and to sanitize, particularly political discourse. And so far, her choice of words alone is enough to be hopeful that she will definitely sanitize the political discourse in this country. Those who are making noise about the area of her specialization in relation to her choice seem not to understand the dynamics of governance. Kwame, economics or economic expertise is not the only criterion of occupying a position in governance. And it is not the only area used in governing nations. In fact, governance is multidimensional, multidisciplinary. And to be able to offer proper governance, you should be able to assemble all scholars, all experts of all fields. Even in the field of idiocy, you need an amount of expertise. Because you are not just managing intellectuals, you are also managing fools, buffoons, some of them decorated by academic credentials. So you need to understand the art of idiocy to manage intellectual idiots, useful idiots, useless idiots. You need to be able to know that governance is not just a matter of one field. And consider the area of her specialization. Let's look at it from two angles. One, she is a linguist. Two, she is an educationist. Right? Education is a critical area of governance. And for a person to rise to the highest level of the profession in education, definitely we should be proud of her. We should rather expect her to be part of the governance. We should rather expect her to occupy a very important position so that together we will all enjoy. Together the nation will prosper. Together the nation will develop. If you look at education and where she has reached in education, you realize that she has been able to touch on almost all fields of education, not just because of her experience in the classroom, but remember, because of her experience as an academic administrator, not just a mere academic administrator, but the chief academic administrator in the university. The vice chancellor is the chief academic administrator in the university. And if we take a university as a microcosm of a society, then she will be a better governor, because there's nothing in a nation that cannot be found in the university. You are talking of ministries, we have the departments. You are talking of areas of expertise, we have faculties. You are talking of population. You and I know that in public relations we have publics, different publics. If we are talking of the publics, the publics are there in the university, the faculty, the student, the administrators, and the ground workers. These are all publics. So if you consider the nature of university itself, then you will agree with me that it is just a miniature of a nation. And if she can excel at that level, definitely, when given the opportunity at the national level, she is expected to excel. One word of advice I have for her: she's a mother. She's, especially for those of us in academia, she's a mother. One word of advice I have for her is that she should be able to live above the pettiness of partisan politics in this country. Sometimes it is not just a matter of mastery of insults. It is also a matter of cultivating a high sense of tolerance of the insults. And I can tell you, the best intolerance is the intolerance of intolerance. The best intolerance is the intolerance of the intolerance of intolerance. And I think should be, because if you consider the terrain, those of us who are much more into political affairs in this country, you will agree with me, and with all due respect to my elder brother Dr. Baumia, he never knew how to insult people. He never knew how to provoke anybody. But in certain circumstances, he has been compelled to respond in the same manner. Let Professor Nana Jane Opoku rise above that.
But what would you say to persons who have intimated quite clearly that we're not putting Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyemang's face on the ballot paper? We're putting John Dramani Maham's face on the ballot paper. Of what significance would the selection, nomination, election of Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyemang be for the victory of John Dramani Mahama in the 2020 elections? Because, truthfully, you know, we're going to see JM's picture on the ballot paper. And indeed, alluding to this position and eloquently and passionately putting same out is Dr. Baumia, who intimated recently that the choice of a running mate does not negate the flaws of John Dramani Mahama. And therefore, you can have the best of running mates, but if John Dramani Mahama himself is tainted, in their estimation, with corruption, then you've done nothing. What would you say? How has the appointment of Professor Jenano Pokwajman changed the political atmosphere?
It has the capacity to change the political atmosphere entirely. Let me address, if that is exactly what my elder brother Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has said, then I humbly disagree with him. I disagree with him because the victory in any election is not an event, it's a process.
Absolutely.
But the victory itself is
a combination of
the result of a process. And for you to even understand how unreasonable that argument is, you need to consider the nature of our political system. Ours is not Westminster parliamentary system. Ours is the American presidential model. So we are talking of the presidency. And that is why the running mate is not anybody who is detached from the presidency. In fact, the running mate, his office, the president, his office, or her office are all part of the entire institution of presidency. So, yes, once it is only the picture of one person which will be on the ballot paper. But then, when it comes to the battle itself,
it's a collective battle.
Collective battle. The running mate plays a leading role. Look, it is believed that former President John Ajakum Kufuor won massively because of the efforts of Ali Mahama. It is equally believed that he, our brother, has contributed substantially to the victory of the current president. It is believed too. So if that is the trend, why can't Professor also contribute to the victory of John Mahama? So it is clear. People should understand very well that ours is the executive presidency. And within the executive presidency, we have the first general and then the second general going to the battlefront. In fact, if she or he, I'm talking of the running mate in generic terms, if he or she does not have any role to play, then definitely people will not even consider his or her selection. Why was it that Ghanaians impatiently even waited for John Mahama to choose a personality of credibility? Not just the candidate. And that is why we say the running mate, the running mate to the presidential candidate, not just the candidate. The candidate, the presidential candidate is the leading general. But the next generals to him or her, in case we have a female presidential candidate, should be one, the vice president, the running mate; two, the party executive; three, the grassroots, the supporters themselves. So we should understand the nature of our politics. Okay. It's not just something that we will go one day and discharge.
Finally, before
it is something that starts from a point and ends at a point.
Okay. Finally, before I move to Yerimambo, I mean, the issue about the role of Professor Jenano Pokwajman in this particular election, especially so when the attacks, the missiles, the Hiroshimas are directed at John Dramani Mahama, because his face is going to be on the ballot sheet you know, when we are having the elections. One cannot at all deny the important role that Dr. Bawumia played in the 2016 elections. In fact, the understanding that all of us got was how he was leading the charge, organizing series of lectures in trying to explain to all, you know, how badly the NDC managed the economy. As a matter of fact, it got to a point where, I mean, because Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, with the greatest of respect to him and his personality, also was suffering from credibility crisis. You indeed recall that even from within his own party, people weren't sure about him. And so the nomination of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia at the time, and flowing from that nomination, what he also did, you know, at the time, which was believed to be true, because now we are getting to know that in fact the city is underperforming and all of that. Yeah. But played in the law, we say it was materially significant to the victory of MPP in 2016. And so why would he then now come and say that, you know, the appointment of a running mate invariably is not important in this particular context, especially when the context is. And I know you want to comment on that briefly. I'll come to you and then I'll come to you. Remember, just 1 minute.
Even in self-indictment.
Yes, sir.
That
Why?
Even
Why do you say that?
Your own choice did not contribute to the success of your presidential candidate.
Absolutely.
Is that the case?
Absolutely.
You see?
Absolutely.
Kwame,
It is because
I'll let you finish.
there's a conscious attempt to undo and to run down the credentials of Professor Jane. That is all of it, so that it doesn't inure to the benefit of the NDC. But I am saying that, Kwame, what the MPP is doing is tantamount to collecting their salt in the open after a heavy downpour. There's nothing left.
Yeah, but let me let you conclude on that.
You see,
but you get a drift of what I'm saying.
I do understand
All right,
very
sure.
well. I do understand very well. We need to differentiate political gimmicks from political reality. What I am hearing belongs to the class of political gimmicks. It is not at all a reality, and it can be a reality. Not at all. Apart from the Constitution directing us, apart from the laws regulating us, we also need to respect conventions. In democratic constitutionalism, conventions play leading roles. So it is within the confines of the convention that the Ghanaian believes that the presidential candidate alone cannot go to the battle.
Okay.
That the presidential candidate needs a credible partner to help him or her to win the election. This convention has been witnessed in this country. We have seen the success of it. Dr. Bawumia himself has been a manifestation of that convention. He and his likes cannot deny the existence of that convention.
Very well. Thank you very much. Well, let me remind you again that the WhatsApp number is active, 0260846539. We are having a very wonderful conversation here. So if you are not sharing, if you have not tuned in, you are missing a lot. You're missing a lot.
Let me just add
Briefly, yeah, no problem. You're allowed to do so.
I'm advising my elder brother to allow expertise to fight. Expertise of economics, expertise of education should be allowed to fight. And at the end of the day, the nation will benefit.
I see what you mean. Now, you remember, let me come to you. You have also studied the political terrain. I mean, look, I have, when she was selected, or if you will, nominated and elected by His Excellency the former president and leader and flag bearer of the NDC as the running mate to him. Many are those who said, well, this is not a novelty. I mean, we've had women as flag bearers of political parties, we've had leaders as running mates, you know, within certain political parties. So why are we, you know, glorifying this particular? Why are we trying to create a certain atmosphere of sanctity? Why are we making it so sanctimonious? What is so special about the selection of Professor Jenano Pokwajiman? And immediately you recall that many wanted to run down the import of this particular
Kwame, which
selection.
one had been a flag bearer of a political party?
Oh, NDP.
They didn't file.
Oh, NDP.
No, I think she filed.
NDP.
The 2016 elections. Okay.
They did.
She was there.
Yeah.
And in fact, was it Indum also had?
No, that was a running mix.
A running Indum. Yeah, running mate to Indum. Yes, that's what I want to say.
Jukonunku.
Yeah, the queen, was it the beauty queen?
Yes.
We also had a vice presidential candidate in 2020.
A female.
A female.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
Former
absolutely. So I mean, people wanted to pull parity with that, to make nonsense in quotes of the appointment by His Excellency the former president. You know, that, I mean, it's nothing. I mean, why are you making a big fuss about it? It's nothing really. But from where you sit and where you sat at the time, and from what is going on now, we cannot deny at all the fact that the appointment of Professor Jenano Pokwajiman immediately changed the political arena. Immediately changed the political space. Immediately people began to shiver. You know, I mean, there was a huge storm. And we needed to find a way of running down, and and the funniest thing that I heard was that, oh, she superintended over the the issue about the teacher trainee allowances, and she superintended over that, and whatnot.
Policy,
essentially just to
policy.
Yeah, essentially just to but I mean, from where you said, I know you are with the CPP, and so you'll be guided and guarded with your utterances, but generally we're trying to build a nation, and I don't want to say this, but what do you make of her appointment? What do you make of her first visit to the central region, and how people received her, and the whole political atmosphere?
Okay. A very good morning to your cherished viewers. Barakah Salah to all Muslims. Kwame, in fact, this issue of Professor Jane Opoku Agyeman, for me, to be very honest with you, it was a surprise to me when His Excellency, the former president, appointed her as a running mate. Because throughout the commentaries, we were expecting that the NDC would have brought an economist to match Bawumia. In fact, all of us were swept. So when the news came, we were like, wow, there must be a strong strategy behind this.
Yes.
A very strong strategy, because it got me confused. Because I thought that, oh, come with me to be an economist, maybe somebody from the central region, yes, somebody from the Volta region, yes, but a male and economist. So these were the parameters we were looking at it from. So when the choice came, in fact, even it hit us. So I can understand why the elephant is also somehow confused. Because strategically, it has thrown all of us off gear. Because you have to re-strategize. Because everybody was expecting an economist who is going to match Bawumia. Now, there have been a lot of women in political office. It didn't start today. Osajefo himself made it a point to make sure that women are appointed into parliament. So there has been that tradition. As I said, even in 2012, with the CPP, we elected under Dr. Abu Sakara Foster a female running mate, Frimpoma Ekuma. The PPP also did the same. There was a presidential candidate from the NDP, Nana Kunedu Edmund Rollins. So it is not really new. Okay, so what makes it unique? As it stands now, we are in opposition. I'm in opposition. But you realize that we have the biggest opposition party being the NDC. So strategically, if your major opponent or the person you think that can compete you, boot for boot, has made a decision which hitherto people thought that it was somehow impossible for any of those so-called two giants to make, then a new formula, a new strategy has to set in. Because I'm telling you, the elephant also least expected it. There were commentary, people, her name was mentioned, but it was rubbish, that there was no way she could grab it. So when she came into the post, hey, in fact, this is something we have to watch out for. And I believe that they should really watch out. What are the dynamics? Now, the central region has always been a floating region, where it is even said that when you win the central region, you can win elections. Over the years, you could see that the NDC has been very faithful to the central region. They've made it a point to always select their running mate from the central region. So strategically, yes, that floating region can fall to them if they work hard. With the personality they brought, par excellence, that 1 year, there's no doubt about it. But strategically and politically, what is he bringing on board? That is the question. As my two seniors said, yes, the politics has gone beyond the kind of attacks, gimmicks, and other things. Now people are even losing trust with the politicians, saying that, look, we make a lot of promises, and when we come, we don't deliver. And a lot of people who this year no vote because they've lost trust in the system. And all of us are going to suffer for it. Even though the last time we were in power was in 1981, we are also suffering because people are saying we don't trust politicians. All because of the actions and inactions of those in power. So they have created some kind of mistrust in the system. So now, this woman coming on board, can she change the narrative? Can she tell people that, no, I am coming on board with a new formula. I'm a woman you can trust as compared to my other opponents? I think that is what the final game will be about. Whether or not we can trust Prof against the other running mates. The issue about it is the presidential candidate which is on the ticket. In fact, it's a very laughable assertion. Why? Because But Omia should know better. That in economics, we have something we call complementary goods. An example is torchlight and battery. Can one operate without the other?
No.
That is it.
And that's why we have,
exactly.
we have collateral damages.
That is it. So it's like a complementary good. So you even see that the battery is the one inside the torchlight, but you will not see the battery, right? You will see only the torchlight. So the torchlight then becomes the candidate, which is visible on the ticket. But the engine room is the battery. Sure. And without the battery, I'm telling you, the torchlight can shine. So if you don't get a good battery to shine, you are moving nowhere, my brother. That is the game. Now, we'll come back and analyze further. And say, yes, she's not an economist. Over the years, we've had people saying that, well, it is good to have an economist as vice president. In fact, that has not been proven to me since, for the past 27 years or so, since 92. It has not been proven that if you're a vice president, so you have to be a renowned economist to turn things around. In fact, from my church, if we see that those who are even claiming to be economists, they did worse.
Examples?
So, Kwame, yes. So, Kwame, for me, it is very funny to hear people say that, well, you need an economist to be a vice president. Yes, you chair the economic management team, but you are guided because there are people who are well versed in those fields which will guide you. But I believe that sometimes it's not only about the economics. It's not only about the economics. Sometimes we should think about the social welfare of the people. You see, what misguides economists sometimes is that they pay so much attention to econometrics, to figures and stats. And when that happens, sometimes they are misguided. And they don't see to the welfare of the people. I believe that what this blend will offer the NDC is that, at least, say she's not an economist, and the experts are talking, she also blend it with the social, orientation that she has.
But who is even a leader?
That is it. As
you identify people who can do the job.
Multi-dimensional.
Yeah, of course.
It doesn't only include economists.
Yeah.
If you pay so much attention to economists and the stats and the econometrics, you fail.
Sure.
Because you are just looking at figures. You don't know the emotions and the what people down there are feeling. So it is a wrong thing for people to say that the economists do.
No.
For me, I believe that yes, anybody who has any field can coordinate the activities of economic.
But when did we even develop, this fanciful desire for economists? I mean, it started when? Was Accra an economist?
It's just a red herring. Some people are too.
Yeah, but was Accra an economist?
No, I'm just saying that it's a.
Was Ali Mahama an economist?
It's a red herring. The MPP is.
Was Atamils at the time an economist? Was Martin Amidu an economist?
No, it has no basis.
Was in fact John Mahama, was he an economist when he was a running mate?
He was not.
It was Emisata. In fact, it was Emisata and Bawumia who are. So if you look at the political history, we've not really had economists.
It's a red herring.
So but let's even look at the contradiction.
No, he's not done.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, so Kwame, for me, strategically, the NDC have done something that we all least expected, and we all have to revise our note accordingly. We are yet to, elect, go to Congress, even get a flag bearer, then get a running mate. We will be guided. Because what they've done, of course, we have to also look at our strategy again. Throwing in another woman, we will not have any.
But others have started doing that. I think there's this party, is it LGP or something?
When you do that, people will see through it, that directly this is something you want to, So for us, we have to sit down and reanalyze the whole issue again. Because I'm telling you, this is not just a woman. This is a woman who yes, I'm telling you, she has achieved it all. And I'm telling you, the women caucus in this country, I'm not talking about the politically inclined ones, because they, of course, naturally will go against
all right. Thank you very much.
So
before I come to you, let me just read a few messages, and then we can come to you and proceed to look at the other issues, because those are very crucial and incidental to our body politic. Alhaji Ahmed says, my greetings to Alhaji Abi of Husseini. Baraka de Salah, Eid Mubarak to you. Francis Owusu says, happy Eid Mubarak to all Muslims. On behalf of Men's Gold customers, we say a big thank you to JM for being sensitive to our plight. We want to assure him that inshallah we shall campaign and vote for him massively. Samuel Jeff says, Kwame, you see what I have been telling you. You are tickling your own self and laughing when you assemble only NDC propagandists whose thinking are wired with one message, NDC and JM, nothing more. You end up embarrassing yourself with defeat and mockery when December 7 betrays your lack of good sense of judgment. Where lies your neutrality and unbiasedness as a TV station? No wonder people tag your station as an NDC headquarters.
This is a classic example of the deep-seated intolerance of the MP.
The truth of the matter is that
because there are people
that's the word I'm going to
who
say.
are not even NDC people.
This one is CPP.
If the CPP man makes analysis,
this one is a lecture.
You as a government, then you tag them NDC.
This one is a lecture.
You see that
I am a journalist.
Part of your thing, you were talking about intolerance, and don't talk about intolerance. The intolerance of the intolerance. This is a classic example.
You know, but what makes you?
This is the talking trade. These are the MPP people. That's just talking trade.
Yeah, but some of them, with the grace of respect,
you see,
yes,
and you say that look, these MPP people, they can throw. Look, you
throw a pebble.
They can throw a kitchen sink at you. You dare throw a pebble at them, they can't take it. No. Deep-seated intolerance.
You know, but to my brother Samuel Jeff, I think
that's how they are.
I think that you are firing at the wrong person. We've always tried, you know, to reach out to your party folks to give us their people. And in fact, on Fridays, if you have been watching the show, you know that Sabo is always here on Friday because of the holiday. He said that he was going to Nima last night. And you know he was going to leave there late, so and where he lives now, he cannot come back and things like that. No. And so that's why we brought a CPP representative, a CPP who is not an NDC member. And so please,
speak your mind.
I think that I think that we must offer ourselves we must offer ourselves that level of respect. You know. Let me read this one. Divine says, "Good morning to you, Kwame. You are doing a great job. I always like Alhaji when he uses the proverbs. Anytime he is talking, most of the time, MPP knows the truth. But because of cheap politics, they behave like angels. But some of us have been with them during Kufuor's time and knew them more than the pants they wear. So they should stop throwing dust in our eyes. Ghanaians deserve a better, and the most painful aspect is Napo also spoke about the achievement is more than what Kwame Nkrumah did. That alone tells you how reckless MPP government and their appointees are when it comes to facts and achievement. Always full of deceit, lies, reckless talk and borrowing, insecurity, hardship resulting in high cost of living, jobless, and the most annoying is corruption, which is now an institution established by MPP-led administration as the Akufo-Addo as the founder and CEO of that institution. In collaboration with his family members. It's a disgrace to compare the MPP non-existent achievement with Nkrumah's era, and I pray that God Almighty shows the MPP and the incompetent president the exit from power." Asha Yusuf says, "Hey, so now you are going to vote for JM or the running mate?" I think that assertion has been dispelled with immediacy by our panelists here. The importance of running mates to an election. Yusuf Issa says, "Good morning to you, champion, and your wonderful panelists. In fact, I want to use this special day to wish the leader and the flag bearer of the great NDC and the running mate, Professor Jane, and the NDC family a fruitful celebration, and the incoming MP for Nalerigu Gambaga constituency, Alhaji Baba Sedu Eid Mubarak." Yusuf from Nalerigu. Osman Sam says, "Mashallah. Gabriela Tete says, "Good morning to you and your panelists. Yirimambu, today you are speaking wisdom." Is it to suggest that every day he doesn't speak wisdom? Gabriela Tete, over to you, Jogati. Jaminja Kaunti says, "MPP promises and fail." Frederick Aqua said, "It is senseless to say the vice president's position is one for the economists. Then the president must have degrees in all subjects: economics, sociology, geography, psychology, engineering, and more." Juliana Belinda Lamte Obri says, "Good morning to you. Ghana blesses God's blessings to honorable. Happy Eid." Percy Eli Nkrumah Gachi says, "Good morning to you all. You are doing a great job. I'm listening from Birmingham in the UK. Please don't waste your time on Samuel." No, sometimes we need to explain some of these things. If you leave rumors hanging, it becomes a fact. So you need to sometimes address it. Jaminja says, "We'll kick out the old man come 2020 December 7th. All right, so these are the messages you've brought to us on Facebook. I will do the WhatsApp and text messages a bit later, but it's important now to move and begin to look at the mid-year budget. The mid-year budget. What are the truths? What are the untruths? What are the realities? What are the false statements and misrepresentations? What has characterized, if you will, the operation, the government's operations and revenue generation and matters arising in respect of same. So I don't want to even talk much. I want to now go again, with Honorable Ebi Hussein on this subject matter, particularly because he was on the floor of Parliament that day, and he will be best seized with the facts as it was presented directly to them on the floor of Parliament, and he can set the ball rolling and give us an appreciation of what was said on the floor of Parliament by the Finance Minister, the response from the minority, what the truths are, what the untruths are, and the way forward. Sir, let's go with you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Kwame.
Yep.
Before that, let me just make this point on the last topic, just
Please.
very briefly.
Please.
Because I didn't have the opportunity to comment on Nana Akufo-Addo's tour of the North.
Absolutely. Sorry.
I'm sure that you can see that it's a very poor it's a very poor show. Other side we should just join.
So when you get your time,
Kwame, very poor showing. The people on the North are showing clear disinterest in his visit. You can see the patronage. Very, very poor. And it tells you, Kwame, what you plant is what you reap. You can't sow cassava and harvest maize. The people in the North have not seen any development significant to warrant the kinds of interventions and support they give Nana Akufo-Addo. Kwame, if you look at the many policy plans that MPP has chosen to do, especially the one village, one dam, it's a disaster in the North. And I'm sure we in the NDC, when we say that this thing is a mill, we are holding it by the balls. Kwame, you can be sure that the press conferences we did press conferences in the middle of dams. Dry. I just even indicate to you in my constituency, they came to a place called Penjeng to do one village. The people already had a dam, they entered their dam and destroyed it. Kwame, whereas the dam that I did for the people of Sa in the next village, Kwame, in my constituency, in the dam that I did, if you go there right now, Kwame, there are crocodiles
swimming.
Crocodiles. But as at that time of the dry season in the MPP, if you go there, you couldn't gather 100 frogs in the remnant of the water that was left. So that's the dismal performance of the MPP in the North in general. And for the one district, one factory, and others, one constituency, 1 million, forget about it. Kwame. So the people are visibly disappointed in the government on Nana Akufo-Addo. And I'm sure they said they know the verdict that is waiting for them in the North. They will be walloped in the December 7, 2020 election because the people have no confidence in this government. It's a 4-year mandate of no performance and a hopeless disappointment of the aspirations and interests of the people. So, Kwame, let me come to Kelufuriata. And he has a knack, Kwame, when he appears before Parliament, to make copious quotes of the Bible. In his white, you know, the way they have painted white and then black, and then you make those copious quotes, is to hoodwink the good people of this country. Under the guise of those quotes, you'll be doing things that are otherwise noble. They are not. Kwame, let me set this record straight, because the MPP is seeking solace in the coronavirus. Their non-performance and incompetence and bungling ineptitude, they are trying to hide behind coronavirus to explain away. Listen, and it is important for that record to be set straight. Kwame, before coronavirus, the economy was totaling. Before coronavirus, Kwame, the economy was performing very badly, to the extent that Ghanaians were living excruciatingly difficult and hard lives. Kwame, it was known. Anywhere you went, Ghanaians complained before Corona. Kwame, were people not complaining about the excruciating hardships in the country? Their inability to feed themselves, their inability to lead dignified lives, the depreciating cedi, huge revenue gaps. Kwame, in fact, it was not a gap, it was a gulf. The government itself admitted that they were finding incapable to raise sufficient revenue to match their expenditure. So both revenue, expenditure, exchange rate, cost of living, Kwame, put all the major indices together. They were down. So it was not coronavirus. That's what I'm saying. They are seeking to hide conveniently behind coronavirus to explain away their ineptitude. They have been inept and bankrupt. So ab initio, that point ought to be made and made very clearly. Now, let's come to coronavirus itself. Kwame, this is the poor handling of the coronavirus system by this government, especially in the area of leadership. Kwame, you recall, and that leadership is very important because we are talking about today stigmatization. I've heard the president even in the last broadcast.
I think it's important for us to start on the coronavirus note, but I have to go for this quick commercial break. Stay with me. Quick commercial break, viewers. Stay with us. We shall return shortly after this particular message from our sponsor. Stay with us.
Breakfast good day, every day.
Nestle, good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved.
Breakfast good day, every day. Every day.
Nestle, good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Welcome back. Thank you very, very much for staying with us. You're still watching the News Preview segment here on Pan-African Television, and we are talking now about the mid-year review budget. And Honorable had started the conversation. Honorable, you on coronavirus. Please proceed. Yes, sir.
So I was talking about the poor handling of the coronavirus by this government. It's what is responsible for what has happened to us today. Because you see, Kwame, the quality of leadership in a nation is decisive to whatever interventions we make to fight this pandemic. And so that is why you have had differences. For instance, in America today, Kwame, because of the attitude of President Trump, Americans are suffering huge casualties. Yesterday, for instance, was one of the highest death rates they suffered. 1,200 and something a day. Okay? And Kwame, look at a small country like Ghana. We are now heading towards 40,000 in terms of infections. Small country like Ghana. And Kwame, if we were to even do the kinds of testing people are, it will balloon. The whole system is infested with coronavirus. And that is the danger. And that's the poor leadership that we have had. Kwame, go back and look at the time this government chose to deal with the issue of the closure of the airports and the borders. Very late in the day. When people had cancelled earlier that we should take the requisite man. Look at the lockdown. When the Ghana Medical Association and all the health experts had recommended a lockdown of the country. You remember Kwame at that time? It never happened. And when the government chose to act, what did they do? They selected only Accra and Kumasi. And look at the lopsided manner in which it was handled. People could even move from the lockdown areas into other areas without even being tested. And they went into those areas and the thing started ballooning. Now, Kwame, I remember even at the level of leadership, when the first 2 cases were reported in March from the Norwegian and the Taxation, you remember that we in the minority, because the president had traveled with them to Norway, you remember, Kwame? Yeah. We in the minority made a statement on the floor of parliament asking that the president, in compliance with WHO protocols and others on this pandemic, should self-quarantine for 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Because he had come into contact with an infected person. What did the president do? He ignored it. He did not. And went around. And very soon, what did we hear? That's it. The cases started ballooning all over the place. So the Gombes have been saying that if you hear the hyena howl and the goat gets missing, who caught it? You don't ask who caught it again. So you can see the attitude of this, the leadership of this government in bringing us to the kind of a situation we have today with this coronavirus. They have so bungled the thing with their incompetence and ineptitude and lack of sensitivity that we are where we are today. And so they cannot extricate themselves from what has happened. Now, Kwame, this budget of figures where the finance minister came to ask for 11.8 billion extra. Kwame, you ask yourself very fundamental question. And if your head is screwed right on your neck and you are thinking right, Kwame, in times of crisis, when you have a deficit of resources, do you still live the normal way that you live? So, Kwame, one would have expected that even before the finance minister comes back to us to ask for an extra 11.8 billion to spend, this government would have first done one very sensible thing: to reprioritize, to rearrange its priorities. Okay? So, Kwame, people are saying that this would have been an excellent opportunity for Nana Akufo-Addo to reduce his gargantuan elephantine-sized government. You are operating a government of almost 130 ministers. That is an extravagant government to run. I just gave you an example of China that will go cap in hand to go and borrow money from. China has only 22 ministers. So you come to China and the Chinese are looking at you. You are asking them for money. And you are operating 130 ministers and they are operating 22 ministers. They think that, my brother, there's something wrong with this man. You don't even know what you are doing. So in times like this, Kwame, before you inflict the Ghanaians with this extra 11.8 billion, you should have done something about your own government to cut expenditure in some of those areas that are a waste. With the 130 ministers, look at the collective achievement. What is there to show for this in terms of the quality of life of Ghanaians? So this would have been an excellent opportunity to downsize. Okay? And ensure that there's prudent use of resources. Kwame, when we talk about prudent resources, the finance minister in the budget came and told us that a whooping 54 million Ghana cedis was used to feed Ghanaians in the lockdown for the 2 weeks. Kwame, this is one of the biggest fraud, and now I will call it fraud. 54 million Ghana cedis. In just that, Kwame, we are all living witnesses here about how that so-called feeding took place. Many of the lockdown areas, Kwame, they had virtually no support. I remember even as a member of parliament, Kwame, I received complaints and calls even from some of our communities in Agbogbosi and other areas, where the government had indicated that they had gone and given them food. Kwame, we went there, there was no show. We had to go there in our own small way, Kwame, to find something for our brothers and sisters, especially from the north. Kwame, and the little areas where people reported of some food, Kwame, if they showed you the food, you wince. Because they said that it was just some poor quality rice with tomato ketchup. And but the government, by its own reckoning, said that they were allocating 5 cedis per meal, okay, which will cost 12 million Ghana cedis, and another 42 million somewhere to bring it up for what they call the dry food. Kwame, with the notarization of the few areas where we saw them throwing food at people for just a day or two, Kwame, you bring a bill of 54 million Ghana cedis. And in Parliament, we demanded that the finance minister should come with further and better particulars to tell us the areas of expenditure. In which town and which town did you spend the money?
Absolutely.
Which food and which food did you buy? What was the cost of each food? Give us the breakdown for us to interrogate. Kwame, up to this date that I talked to you, that breakdown is not forthcoming from the finance minister. There's a lot of opacity. It's opaque. It's not being transparent in giving the good people of this country, through their representatives, a clear breakdown for us to integrate and know how the money was spent. So you see, a lot of it is azar. Kolo. You see, from the Minister for Finance, Kwame, you come in the budget, the mid-year budget, and you hear the finance minister praising himself and his government to the high heavens that they have reduced the communication service tax from 9 to 5%. Kwame, you see, that's why I said that the MPP, what they are doing is tantamount to collecting their salt in the open after a heavy downpour. Kwame.
Yes, sir.
You remember when they introduced this, when they moved the communication tax by 50, a whooping 50%.
I remember.
Even here, we discussed it here on Pan-Africa.
I remember.
And we complained that that was a clearly insensitive move by this government. And that at a time when Ghanaians were overly burdened with taxation,
you don't have to further burden them.
You are adding extortionate taxes to Ghanaians to kill them.
Especially when they describe those ones as nuisance taxes.
Nuisance taxes. In fact, these were no nuisance taxes. These were killer taxes. Okay, Kwame. So you tell Ghanaians that Ethiopia, and you go ahead and impose that hardship on Ghanaians. And Ghanaians actually paid the tax. They absorbed the tax and cried. So after absorbing it for some time, you come and tell us that, oh, you are a magnanimous government. You have decided to reduce it from 9 to 5. You think we have sand in our heads? Because I said, these are people, they have no respect for Ghanaians. Because you cannot impose that burden on us, force us to pay the tax, absorb it for all this period, and then you come and tell us that you have reduced it, we should clap for you. Who are they sacking in the evening for him to be greeting good night? Who brought the burdens in the first place? Because, Kwame, they have been duly, they have taken judicious notice of the statement His Excellency President Mahama made in the abolition of all nuisance taxes. You know, remember the luxury tax before? President Mahama had indicated that he was going to abolish it. They had to react fast. Kwame. And this honky-ponky job that they have done with this CST, Communication Service Tax, was in the aftermath of a pledge by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama that inshallah, on January 7th, when he becomes president of this republic, he's going to abolish the CST as one of the plethora of obnoxious taxes. Okay? So as soon as they heard that one, then they said, oh, something has to be done to deal with this matter. And so the 9 to 5% movement, Kwame, is due to the panic that President Mahama's assurance to Ghanaians has sat very well with the good people of this country. And they are struggling to try and see whether they can do something about that decision. Kwame, in true fashion, when President Mahama comes, that tax will be taken away. So we are not even talking about maintaining 5%. They have done nothing. Apart from even inflicting hardship on people, and people have paid for it already, and they are still maintaining 5% of that hardship. President Mahama will take away the entire obnoxious tax and give Ghanaians the benefit of enjoying. Kwame, one of the last areas of frontiers of small freedom Ghanaians have left is the ability to talk, which even this government is now clamping down on. closure of radio stations, attempt to clamp down on the media, beating of, maiming and murdering of journalists, and all those is in this area. So Kwame, that is the last frontier, and even that one, they are taking it away through the imposition of such obnoxious taxes. Okay, Kwame, if you come and you look at the area of debt, Kwame, you cry for this country.
Hey, I want to cry.
Yes, Kwame, you should.
So let me hear and cry.
You should be crying. In fact, you should cry before I start mentioning the figures.
Hey, I should cry more than the bereaved.
Kwame, in fact, you are the bereaved yourself. Kwame,
Yeah.
when President Mahama was leaving office on January 7th, 2017, the total indebtedness of this country from independence to that time was 120 billion Ghana.
22 billion.
120.
122 billion.
120. Let me tell you that.
Why are your figures different from
that's the MPP figure.
Okay.
You see, when the MPP wants you to look bad, they raise your figures. If it's a deficit.
So let's
the constellation done by the finance ministry, the controller and accountant general. The finance minister, controller and accountant general, and government. The reconciliation came to 120 billion. It's the MPP which added the 2 billion. Just to look first, to let the NDC look bad as at that time. Not knowing what they were even coming to do. So the official figure, Kwame, is 120 billion.
Okay.
As confirmed by the controller accountant general. Okay? Now, Kwame, as at March this year, by Bank of Ghana and government's own figures, Kwame, we had more than doubled the debt. Today, as we speak, new debt, Kwame, within the last week that we've sat in Parliament, I can't count the number of loans we have even approved. Those ones are yet to come into the stream and be added to the total indebtedness. But Kwame, today we have a debt of over 285 billion. In fact, the debt to GDP...
Is it 58 or 85?
85.
No, that's more than 100%. No?
It is more than 100%.
Yes.
Because from 122 to... So it means that even if you look at the 4 years, you are talking about 136 billion.
So, Kwame, that is a very, very scary amount. In fact, the IMF even issued a decision on debt stress analysis and indicated that we have a very unsustainable debt management system. And that at that rate, Kwame, we are heading straight back to HIPIC. At that rate, we are heading straight back to HIPIC because we clearly failed the debt threat analysis. Kwame, and it does not stop there. This government has demonstrated an insatiable appetite for borrowing. Kwame, go back and look at their manifesto promises and what they told Ghanaians. You remember Dr. Bawumia? The same Dr. Bawumia. That's why we say there's a huge credibility deficit at the presidency. Both Dr. Bawumia and the president himself. Kwame, Dr. Bawumia said he worked at the Bank of Ghana, isn't it? And he knows that the money is here.
Yep.
And that when we come, we will not borrow. You remember that statement?
I remember very, very, very.
Nana Akufo-Addo said what? President Nana Akufo-Addo said what? Yetisika su.
Now, so come there.
To come here. Ne yetisika bebre su come here. Kwame, you come into government and say that borrowing is an act of lazy governance. You borrow to this tune. Today, Kwame, we have moved from 57% of GDP, debt to GDP, to 67% debt to GDP. In just 3 years, under the MPP. Kwame, in just 3 years, under the MPP. This is where we found. And the worst aspect, Kwame, is that you ask yourself, all this money that has been borrowed. And not only this, Kwame, the MPP has had the biggest quantum of resources by any government in the history of our country. An estimated over 300 billion Ghana cedis.
From where?
Taxes, oil money, aids and grants.
I don't know better managers then.
What have they managed? The oil, for instance, like I said, the oil infrastructure. They had inherited it from the work that the NDC did. Okay? By the time President Mahama was in, he added 3 additional oil wells. The 10 oil fields, 10 Enyira and Ntumu oil fields. Okay? Nana Akufo-Addo, in terms of oil revenue, has had more than 5 times what President Mahama had. Okay? So if you put all this quantum of resources together, Kwame, you ask yourself, what has the MPP done? Look around. Kwame, the MPP hasn't built one single hospital. One single hospital they haven't built in almost getting to 4 years of their government. It wasn't me. It was Nana Akufo-Addo who promised he was going to build 350 senior secondary schools from the scratch. I lie. One has he built. So come, you take the various sectors one by one and ask yourself, in terms of evidence, what can you see that the MPP did with those monies? With the relatively limited one President Mama had, you can see what happens. Even including the Center of Excellence at Legon that they dismissed, where they are now seeking sanctuary for coronavirus. Their people are now going there for coronavirus relief. Okay? Had it not been for President Mama's e-blocks and improvement in secondary school infrastructure, Kwame, the double track we are operating today would have been quadruple track. Okay? So you can see the difference. That even with the relatively limited one, this is what President Mahama did. With the abundance of resources, look at the abysmal performance of this government in respect of infrastructure. So Kwame, if you look at this budget that the finance minister has brought before us,
include on that for me.
Yes, you will see that frankly, apart from the opacity with which they are operating, Kwame, we are not getting value for money in a lot of the transactions this government is doing. And I think that we are demanding, for instance, Kwame, you know that we have passed a Fiscal Responsibility Act.
Yes, I was going to come to. I think is it Haruna Idrisu or somebody raised that issue?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have passed a fiscal, and we the minority demanded that.
What does it mean for those of us who don't understand?
It means that in any year the government cannot spend more than 5%
of its total revenue.
No, more than 5% deficit. We cannot raise the deficit level to more than 5%.
What
otherwise, you have revenue, you have expenditure.
Yes.
You shouldn't spend more than 5% of what you earn.
That's so of your revenue, yeah.
Exactly.
So let's say you generate so amount
you
of
generate 100 million. So the maximum you can do is to spend within 104 or so at the time.
But it shouldn't go beyond.
If it goes 105, you have spent more than.
So this is the explanation now.
So that is
everybody will understand.
Exactly. So that is a law now. Because in election years especially, government use that as an excuse to spend more.
Yeah.
And that balloons the deficit and also creates more debt for the country.
Absolutely.
And given our precarious level of debt today, that responsibility. Kwame, the finance minister has arrogated to himself the right to determine for himself the violation of this deficit before coming to parliament. So he has put the cart before the horse.
How?
He doesn't have any right to arrogate himself the right to deal with this deficit. He doesn't. He has no power. That's why I'm saying that it is only parliament. And then when you are talking about spending government money, the only institution that can give you the authority is parliament. So he cannot do what he has done. So that's why the minority will call that he should be censured. Because it's a violation of the law. Kwame, why? Ordinary people are in jail and this is for even doing small things. I lie. Is the finance minister above the law? Kwame, tell me.
No, nobody's above the law.
So if he breaks the law, what happens to him? Because he's the financial whiskey of the president, nothing happens to him. Okay? It is important for the equality before the law of all citizens to be manifest. And that's why the minority is calling for a censure of the finance minister on this matter. He should not be allowed to get away.
In conclusion, sir.
So, Charlie?
Is it Charlie?
This one is
over you.
In contemporary budget.
Not about Tampa. It's about Tampa budget.
Kwame, I've said it that if you call your donkey a horse, on the day race is called, it will be exposed for the ass that it is.
Okay.
You can see clearly.
All right.
That this government is out of breath.
Okay.
They are out of vision. They are incapable of providing the requisite level of life for Ghanaians.
Okay.
In fact, Kwame, they are hopelessly uninspiring. And Ghanaians can see through it today. Kwame, you go around the country and see the mood. I just told you that the president, he went to the top of the north. You saw how bad a reception it was. Okay? And around the whole country, the country is in a somber mood. And I'm saying that, yes, coronavirus has had its own complications of economies across the world. But come in, if you look at even in the budget figures, we are going to grow by, I think, 0.8 or 0.9%. This is the lowest growth in our sub-region. Even Cote d'Ivoire here, they are going to grow about 2%. Cote d'Ivoire here, Burkina Faso, they are growing about 1.4%. Around the whole sub-region, they are all growing 1.something%. Ghana alone, we are going 0.something%.
Interesting perspectives there. Thank you very much, Honorable Obi Fuseni. Yeah, I wanted for you. Yeah. So the and
yes. So I'm just indicating that this government cannot provide hope for Ghanaians.
Okay.
So like the minority said, the only thing as Ghanaians we need to do is to kick out this hopelessly uninspiring, hopelessly incompetent, corrupt government.
Okay.
And bring in place a government that has shown the method, that has been tried, tested, and proven.
Okay.
And that is the government of His Excellency President.
Thank you very much.
On January 7th, 2021.
Thank you very much.
So that they can not only would they get their relief back. And President Mama has made that clear. Kwame, can you see a government that tells you that all those financial decisions that they have collapsed? Kwame, your money was put in the bank. The government itself comes and collapses the bank and tells you that, Massa, the best I can do for you is to give you bond paper. Keep it 5 years time.
But they said they've paid about 95% of the customers.
Kwame, what stories have you heard about payment from this government? I say that sometimes people don't fear God. They lie so badly. Go and see the number of people who are holding those paper bonds, that they are saying that they should hold it for 5 years before they can redeem those bonds.
Okay.
And you know the fraud, Kwame?
Yeah.
They are playing a huge fraud. Government itself at the head of fraud.
Yeah.
Telling you that if you want 50% of your money, so that they will take 50% and give you 50%.
Yes.
Bring the bond, they will take it and give you. Is that not theft? They are stealing. This is stealing. This is sophisticated stealing.
Okay.
And to engage in this exercise by government is criminal.
Okay.
Kwame.
Yeah.
So President Mama has indicated that all those who have suffered under this financial crisis, including men's gold, all those other things, when it comes within 365 days, within the first year in office, Kwame, we are not going to give you a piece of paper and tell you that take that piece of paper home. 5 years. Because why? In 5 years,
but Honorable, you had DKM, you had Goddess Love, you couldn't pay. Why are you promising?
Government has started paying. Go and look at the records at the NDC. Okay?
You had started paying
yes,
DKM.
Yes, when we went out of office.
Viewers, did they start paying DKM and Goddess Love? Yes, if you ever saved those of you in Sunya, if you saved DKM and Goddess Love,
but just indicated
because
Nam one and they are working about free.
Who?
Nam one.
What has he done?
Huh?
What has he done?
Kwame, when the house has fallen, you ask the roof is still standing. You know the number of people who locked with men's gold. Let's leave it there. So when you come move, so all those money, see, the government incumbent. Where are it? You said something. They have done some consolidated bank and others.
Yes, CBG.
And they have put some other resources under a receiver. Where are the monies?
Okay. I mean, there are some things that you've said, and
where are the monies?
And be sure that we are going to hold you accountable when you get into power in 2021.
Yes.
Because you said that you can, because you said that when you say something is a mail, it means you are holding it by the
yes.
So let's leave it.
We have promised the people of this country that we are not going to give them paper and say go and keep the paper. 5 years. In another case,
but we do here.
In 5 years time, where will Nana Akufo-Addo?
But we do here. We don't do here. We do here.
I'm saying that in 5 years time, where will Nana Akufo-Addo?
We don't know, but we do here.
And who tells you that? You're not even getting a secretary.
I hear you.
For you to talk about
I hear you. You know, there's a Malawian proverb that men are trapped by their words, animals by their horns. So we will hold you accountable.
Kwame.
You will come here, and when you come and be say honorable, I'll bring it out.
Kwame, you don't threaten a chief warrior with a
mustache. Are you?
I told you that is our trademark.
Only that when the time comes, don't tell me that you can mistake the window for a door.
No.
Okay.
Nobody will go through the window. And I enjoy accountability. Kwame, I've said that whatever the NDC says, the good people of this country will give us the money and hold us to account.
We there here?
Yes.
Country broke. We there inside. Francis Duamek says Ghanaians will kick out this 76-year-old man come December 7. Jaminja says, I love the way Aladi talks. Roxindo says, Kwame, don't mind those MPP for soldiers. Wahab Abdullah says, watching you live from Fumbisi, Upper East region. I'm really enjoying the program. Jamin Kaute says, this government is a useless government. Kate, I'm watching you live from Dubai, industrial area. I'm very sorry that my father and mother gave birth to me as Ghanaian. Why are so-called leaders wicked like that? Okay. Christian Nkasa says, yes, they paid those with funds between 0 to 10,000 Ghana cedis. Okay, that's what you're saying. Lamini Mohammed is watching. Frederick Adam says, please ask the MPP that how are they going to pay how are they going to plug those holes President Akufo-Addo has dug and deliver on their promises? How are they going to do that? Edward J says, yes, MBC made arrangements for payment to be made. Since that arrangement ended, MPP has not made any payment. Again, you can check, Kwame. Okay, Haji Amdat Ibrahim is also watching. Haji, good morning to you, and I trust that you are doing very well. You know, but let me come to you on this subject matter before I come to Doc.
Yes, Kwame. This issue about mid-year budget review. Over the years, I've not been inspired by them. Because it always points out one thing. They will come and ask for more money. Always come and ask for more money. Yeah, and the senior mentioned something. That if you are in crisis or you think that things are not working, you have to look at your priorities again. And I believe over the years, that is what we fail to do as a nation. Because the resources can always not be enough. No matter how rich a country is. When you have resources competing against needs, the resources can never overshadow the needs. The needs always overshadow the resources. So it is for us to always have a very good scale of preference and choose accordingly what our strength can do and what will benefit the masses. But unfortunately, over the years, what have we done? We lack priority. We always come to the fold and say we want more money. When more money is given, we don't know what the money gets into. And at the end of the day, it is a cycle of always increasing our debt. Kwame, it's a very worrying situation. If now our debt to GDP is around 67%, Kwame, we have a problem. Serious one. It means that we have about 3% to go. Then we are back to HIPIC. Even within the last, the loans that we have approved. Well, maybe they leave it as advertised. You see? But the problem is that this cycle, Kwame, it didn't start today. That's why we say, look, there's nothing with borrowing. But if you borrow and you don't invest the money well, it becomes waste.
But what do we borrow to do? We borrow to retire debt.
That is it. So when you continue doing that, it means that that cycle can never be broken. That is what we are saying, that if you want to borrow and borrow well, borrow in sectors that can regenerate income.
Absolutely.
So that in the next 10 years, you've taken a bond. In the next 10 years, that same money can be used to repay. But we don't do that in this country. And that one will blame the NPP or the NDC for this. Because it's a cycle they've created. And Kwame, honestly, I don't know how we are going to break this cycle. Because, for them, yeah, they can't break it. But it means if we want to do that, Kwame, if we want to break this cycle, it means we have to take very tough political decisions, which I know they might not be able to take. Because you have to give yourself some years to say that in the next 5 or 6 years, this is the stringent measures we are going to put in place. We are not going to borrow to do things which are not in line of restructuring our debt. And in fact, it's a very difficult thing to do. To be very honest with you, it is going to be very difficult. There, we will say to ourselves that we will try to generate internally, as the elephant told us in 2016, that there's more money in Ghana here. They can generate money, but when they came, we are seeing otherwise. That is one way of doing it. How to generate enough income here. Because when you are able to generate enough, that means at least the money to be chasing outside, you can internally get those monies within the country.
Because Edgar Odu has always been saying that we are engaged in revenue mobilization as opposed to revenue generation.
That is it.
And that's the problem in this country.
So what do? We have some key areas that we can look at. In fact, we found oil way back in 2007. We are just extracting the oil. We are not thinking about putting a petrochemical industry to produce the byproducts? Because it has so many benefits which can change this economy around. What have we done throughout these years?
We got a trouble out of it.
Okay, well, that is one. What about the others? Because the byproducts are enormous.
Bitumen.
So many.
Yeah.
And I believe that this is one thing that can turn the lives of these people of this country around. But I don't know why our brothers who have been in power have not been paying attention to this. And as I said, we always, you see, why do we refine our fuel outside?
I think that if you,
This one here,
this one,
it has shocked you for
a small point. If you lump us together with the MPP, you are not being fair to us in this respect of this petrochemical. Because you can see what we built at Trouble. And part of Trouble was to enable us process gas that were flaring.
Precisely.
And today Ghana is a net exporter of gas.
Correct.
So if you say that investment, all of us are not doing anything about it. I think that if you make some distinctions.
But I've never heard
this vision, but I think I
give my attention to
trouble gas.
But the thing is, I've never heard the NDC even talking about a petrochemical industry. I don't know whether well, it is not the intention of the NDC to do so. But I believe that is the way to go. And Kwame, I've always been saying, I don't know why the oil we extract, we don't refine it here. I don't get it. Why do you have the RFCC lying there? Residual fluid catalytic cracker in Tema doing nothing. I don't get it. Let's expand that capacity because immediately you're able to refine oil here. In fact, it's not much money staying in the economy. So I believe that, Kwame, moving forward, let's see ways and means to generate more. Because if we don't generate more, there's no way we'll break this cycle of always going for debt. We'll do that, we'll retire it in 5 years' time. We have to go for another loan to retire it. So this one we are talking about. In the next, I think, 15, 20 years, we'll always be paying debt. Kwame, and this is not the way to go. Now, we talk about coronavirus. I knew this will happen. I knew that no matter what happens, they will push out the blame on corona. And it has happened. It has happened. As Honorable said, prior to corona, we had challenges. But no, as politicians, they want to take advantage and tell the people that, look, corona has crippled this economy. And that I don't get. Why? Because other African countries, comparatively, look at their figures as Honorable is saying. They are even expecting to grow in the minimum, but we are even looking at a 0% growth or even in a negative, which is a very worrying thing to me, Kwame. And the finance minister told that it will take 2 to 3 years for us to bounce back. Kwame, in fact, then we should tighten our belt. Because I believe that we didn't even feel the shock as other countries in the West did. Because we had the opportunity, it started from there. So we had a chance and the opportunity to lock all the loopholes before the thing got to us. But we still, because of lack of planning and foresight, we failed to do so. And the thing that caught up with us, and we are struggling. And I believe that, look, this is not something that we should struggle with. Look, it has come, yes, it has affected some sectors of the economy, acknowledged. But to tell us that it will take 2 to 3 years for us to come out of this, which I don't get. Because remember, we've taken a lot of facilities because of COVID. A lot of them. So I don't know what those facilities are being pushed into. Because my understanding was that those facilities was taken to cushion us, to enable us to not feel the shock of the COVID. But if these facilities are still coming in, and you are telling us that you need about 2 to 3 years to bounce back, then Kwame, we have a long way to go. We talk about creating of jobs. So they've created a lot of NAPCO jobs, which figures always we have been doubting. One district, one factory that they've set up over 79, 200 and something are still in process. You see, the mode they are using to implement this policy. When this policy came out, some of us in Kuba, we knew it was a good policy. But later did we know the kind of mood it will take. Because this one is just like a private sector driven thing. You have an idea, you go, they try to get you facilities for you to set it up. So at the end of the day, it is still getting into the hands of the bourgeoisie in the society. We are saying that if you really want to do this, the government should take lead. That is why we were particularly challenged when we couldn't understand why all those factories in Kumado lying in the bushes were not the first to be tackled. Kwame, it defeats my knowledge or logic that if you want to start with a policy, a good policy such as the one district, one factory, there were existing factories which have been left abandoned. What do you do as a government? I believe you should have moved first to ensure that these factories are re-energized and revived to help create more jobs. But unfortunately, we didn't see that. And I've seen that the model they are using is a private sector driven model, where the private man can set up an industry, come to government for support and tax exemptions and other things. But I believe that we could have done more in that sector. Government for us should be the #1 entrepreneur. Because the kind of resources and goodwill government controls, private individuals will never amass such. So we always believe that the government should be at the forefront of reviving the economy, of building the industry. So Kwame, in short, I don't see how this mid-year budget, asking for 11.8 billion, most of it, yes, we will know that it will go into retiring debt, and we will not see any significance of this money into the economy. I mean, I must admit, because this has been the cycle and the kind of economy we have been running for the past.
But it beats my imagination. I'm sure it beats the imagination of many other Ghanaians out there, because you recall also, and I can recall quite vividly, the passion and the eloquence with which the current president at the time, when he was the presidential candidate for the NDC, speak about the kind of economy that we are running. And he opined quite unequivocally that when given the opportunity by Ghanaians, he was going to move the country from the Gettysburg economy to a production economy.
And they failed woefully.
And so one would have thought that at least, even if you're not going to be able to see that to its logical conclusion, you would have at least started something, so that we would know that, well, I mean, there's some goodwill.
That is it.
In implementing those things. But when you raise these questions, they talk about NAPCO, they talk about planting for food and jobs, they talk about all of these other interventions. But the question that have often times been raised by many when these issues come up is whether these are sustainable policies.
That's what I was about to say.
So maybe we can also look at these nuances and see whether or not,
of course, you see, moving the economy from the Gettysburg economy to a production economy has been a national anthem for most of these parties. But what have we seen over the years? If you read a lot of authors on the economy of Ghana, they will tell you that the economic structure of Ghana has never shifted. It has shifted only slightly in the 60s, when Nkrumah embarked on a serious industrialization drive. All the toys are ET, Empower, Kellic, all of them. They will tell you. So over the years, we failed to move from the agrarian economy towards production or industrialization.
Okay. All right.
So I believe that if they really meant business about building industries, they should have paid more attention on producing the raw materials first. Then, after consolidating that, then you can move straight into action. Over the years, I believe we've lost purpose, we've lost direction, and we need a new way forward. That new forward can only be guaranteed by a strong Nkrumah's party, which is the convention.
Thank you very much. I'll come to you. Let me just.
I'm not just say a word for him. Jimmy Cliff in 1972 sang a song. The title is "Action Speaks Louder Than Words."
All right.
There are people who come here, they can change your night into day. But you make a mistake and put your destiny in their hands. Well, to hell.
Thank you very much, Honorable. I'll come to you, Dr. Marzouk. But let me read a few of the WhatsApp messages as well. Good morning to you and your panelists. They are really contributing to the building of Mother Ghana. More grease to their elbows. More elbow grease to their efforts. Frank Mawalo from La Paz, and you say, Abel Husseini, you are great with your proverbs. Keep it up. This one also says, I was a victim of DKM. The liquidator paid 10,000 Ghana cedis in 2016 in 2 tranches. Since then, nothing has been paid. And he sends the other message again. It says that the liquidator paid in 2016 in 2 tranches. First tranche was in October, and the second tranche in December. Since then, nothing has been paid again. John from Elembele sent in this one. This one says, good morning to you, my good friend Kwame. In fact, this dubious anarchy and heartless government must be dealt with for their great lies that I have paid. That I have paid the affected customers. We are patiently waiting. Mahama did a lot, but we voted him out. Theirs will be greater than this. December is just around the corner. You didn't add your name. Next time, please add your name. Good morning to you, General KOD. I like the fact that you've described me as General. In fact, you see the way I've put on my cap. Yeah, General KOD. This MPP government is a misfortune that has happened to Ghana. All concerned Ghanaians must join hands for us to reverse this misfortune. It is a communal labor for us to vote out Akufo-Addo. Kwame, under the lying MPP, under MPP, lying is very lucrative. You will be highly rewarded if you can lie very well. This is a misfortune. J. Jom from Taifa. Good morning to you, KOD. I have observed that your panelists are always share pens whilst making notes. This is not a healthy practice. Can you ensure you have enough? Francis from BBNE. Francis, have you seen the big hand sanitizer here? Precisely. We have sanitized everything.
Oh, let me even have
it. The other aspect of what you say is that you shouldn't let us share pens.
I hear you. Akufo-Addo in 2016 was begging Ghanaians to try him. We have, and all we have seen, we have been able to do is give us nice speeches, but delivery is zero. Lazy government, talk nkwa. Prince from Tema sent in this one. This one says, good morning to you, Kwame. This morning, Honorable ABF Husseini will finish your name. One word, Kwame. One word, Kwame. One word, Kwame. One word, Kwame. From Honorable Chala, I'm praying for you. But please tell Honorable today is eating day. His students are waiting. Lagbaja from Accra. Lagbaja from Accra. Good morning to you, KOD. Can you please find out from Alhaji ABF Husseini what is the NDC's position on the Customers Amendment Bill that bans salvage cars, which it will eventually collapse thousands of livelihoods? This is a very serious matter. And note it down. You will address it. No, hold on. Let me read it. Just note it down. No,
I can already tell you that. Something that is even this in our manifesto.
Because Kwame from Tema is very concerned about it. And my brother, who is also into importing and exporting, in fact, he imports cars and things like that, he's also very concerned, deeply concerned about this. Now, good morning to you, Mr. Host. In fact, I love your show. Kudos to the MDC man and Yirimambo Moses. Verily, the MDC government were able to pay some of the DKM clients. We are hoping and praying to see them back in government because they are far, far better than this diabolical government in power who have no pity for any Ghanaian. Good morning to you. Please, my humble plea is that I want the EC boss Jamesa to gazette the 2016 election results with the supposed unprecedented 1 million votes. I am voting JM because of Professor Jane. I promise you, JM all the way. Hilda from Takwa sent in this one. Fellow Akatamansunians.
You're assassinating our
what is that?
That will remove our mask. Fellow Akatamansonians.
Fellow Akatamansonians.
Yes.
Please let us leave the MPP government and concentrate on our campaign. They are just trying to distract our focus. Is it a crime? It is a crime to all this government to come back to power. They have destroyed our democracy. Grace sent in this one today. I love the fact that women are actually sending messages. Don't worry, we are together.
Oh, don't worry.
I am George August from Santa Maria. This government is fully corrupt. Forget them. Nothing give them. Kwame, please allow Elijah to complete his proverbs. I was taking notes, but you interrupted and he did not complete it. He said you can't frighten a chief warrior, but Kwame, you interrupted. The way he said that, he said you can't frighten a chief warrior by, and then into bracket, Kwame interrupted. It says, let him complete it. Well, I can complete it for you. You cannot frighten a chief warrior with a mustache. Jidefo Abochi Sasepe from Adidome. Now, this one also says, Kwame, is the NDC paid the NDC paid us our DKM investment small? When NPP took office, is one lie after lie after lie after lie. My over 6 billion Ghana cedis, I only received 10,000 when the NDC started paying up to date. I'm following up, very tired. I have stopped and just depending on destiny. Oh, Kafra, Kosewai, Kose. Mohammed Siba says, hey, 350 high school facilities pa. Nanado, this one there, you be Mugu. This one says, are we serious, really serious in this country? This government has no record of a single school or hospital, but can spend 54 million Ghana cedis on cooked foods. This is the highest grade of corruption. Fayol from Nkwanta in Uti region, my region, our region, your region. One district, the promises are over. One district, one dam. Where are the dams? Where is the $1 million per constituency? Ghana has retrogressed 20 years. This government has totally failed us. Ghanaians, let's go back. Sankofa Yenchi. Okay. OJ from Winnipeg. The appointment of Professor Jenano Pokwadman alone has calmed down political tension in the country. This is a manifestation that if John and Jane are voted into power, Ghanaians will enjoy peace, freedom, and expression and respect for each other. As for the media budget, what made me weep for this country is the 54 million GH MPP claimed to have spent to feed 400,000 people for 2 weeks. Hey, this one says, good morning to you. I love your show. Okay, thank you very much. Good morning to you, Mr. Host. I want to disagree with the vice president. If he did not bring anything to the presidency, then Prof has a lot to bring. We voted for MPP, but because of him, Vic from Kusi, Vic Kusi from Somenya. Today, the women are texting power. Charlie, I'm telling you, good morning to you, Kwame, and your guest, the economist, Bawumianomist. Now, the worst economist we've ever had in this republic, in the Republic of Ghana. Why when people call him Bawumianologist, aka digital man? Ghana needs educationists to fix the broken loopholes in our educational sector, and others to build more competent economists. Not a I wish Honorable Ebi Fuseni, my Muslim brothers and sisters, happy festive celebration. Prosper Zusagla inside Dome Kwabenya. This one says, good morning to you all. Kwame, coronavirus has come to stay for MPP government because this is the only way they can make more money for themselves. Roxanne from Pig Farm here in Accra. Good morning to you, Champion KOD, and your panelists. KOD, in fact, Mama Ghana is weeping bitterly under this super incompetent, barbaric, selfish, lies, and doom MPP government. More grace to Honorable Alhaji Mwimbong from Wasenti. This one. Let me go for this quick commercial because my return, we're going to now listen to the eloquence from Dr. Marzouk. Stay with us. Don't move a muscle. It's going to be very exciting. We're going to extend the time a little bit. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Breakfast good day, every day.
Nestle. Good food, good life.
This advertisement.
Breakfast good day, every day. Every day.
Nestle.
All right, welcome back. And let me do 2 more messages then, and I'll come to my doctor here. This one says, my lecturer, your lecturer, everybody's lecturer, amongst the panelists, at your right-hand side, with attire black and white. Okay, yeah. Please inform him that I've taken him as one of my fathers. He is my role model, and as such, all must learn from him. He always appreciates and discloses the truth in every issue. Because His Excellency JDM chose our mother, Prof. Nano Pokwadman, as running mate. I will vote for him come 2020. My regards to you and your panelists, especially Dr. Marzouk. SP from Cape Coast sent in this one.
I'm humbled.
That oh no, he's not a so-called finance minister. Don't say that. Our finance minister, Kenefrata, is a complete disaster to our Ghanaian economy. Uncle D sent in this one. Good morning to you, KOD, and my indefatigable, Honorable Al-Hassan Bashir Fuseni. I wish him happy Eid al-Adha. KOD, whether economics or not, Professor Nana will match Baumia boot for boot, Chalwate for Chalwate. As reducing communication text will increase at the first place. Is it not the same MPP government? They should give us a break. We are voting them out come December. Kotoka Courage in Aloga in the voter region. Please, KOD, I need an update on the MPP Cathedral. Has MPP finished building the cathedral? Please, if not, we need the judges' bungalows back. Mahama built, which was demolished by the MPP, we need it back. This is also the stage of the ultra-modern one village, one dam constructed at Kusele in Nando municipality in Upper West region. God save us all. People are sending videos, pictures of their one district, one factory, one village, one dam. Good morning to you, Kwame. This MPP government, I hate hearing about them. They are a disgrace to Mother Ghana in everything they do. In my village, Goli, in Nadoli constituency, we had a dam for over 50 years. But this government came all in the name of one district, one dam. No, we are not listening, no. And destroyed our reliable dam in the name of rehabilitation. By Elvis. This one also says, with all due respect, 130 ministers with a single salary is far better than 88 ministers with double salaries under John Dramani Mahama. Please come and tell Honorable Ebufuseni to focus on his seat and forget about Mahama, because the devil you truly know is far better than the angel you do not know. Fatal Alem inside Ayamfure in the central region.
You should forget.
Come, tell the NDC man that MPP members are in the rural and villages deceiving the illiterate and the ordinary Ghanaians that Mahama will cancel free SHS when voted into power. So NDC should send their team to go to the villages to educate them. Especially, they should charge their MPs to do this. Thanks. Maximiland sent in this one. Hey. Anyway, messages pouring in fast. Doc, let's hear from you.
Thank you once again. I still would want to move from Nana to Nana. Running mate Nana Jane Opoku Ajimai to the President Nana Akufo-Addo. On Nana, I want us to consider two contradictory statements and draw our own conclusion.
Okay.
In one breath, as a running mate, she must be an economist to matter. Let's take it again. In one breath, as a running mate, she must be an economist to matter. In another breath, as a running mate, she doesn't even matter at all. So you see the contradiction? You all have your own conclusions. But mine is nothing more than hypocrisy. Now on Nana. Nana's visit to the north could be seen from two perspectives: as a political project and as a national duty. As a political project, well, we may be allowed to argue that so many people could not come because of the abnormality of the times. And because of the change of dynamics, definitely you will have a change of attendance of meetings, political meetings. So that I don't have much to say. But as a national project, I think, national duty, I think it is still very good, because I remember that as part of the visit, he's expected to launch a water project in Savulgo, right?
Nalergu
Gambaga.
Yep.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
I was living there.
Sure. Yes. And I think, yes, I think this is a very good project. I support it, not because I'm a Northerner, but because North is part of Ghana. And we should all be happy that even as we are threatened by the COVID pandemic, we still have resources to undertake such projects. So I'm not going to say much about that.
Right.
Then let's come to the budget. With all humility, I want to declare that I am not an economist. And therefore my submissions will be based on common sense, which is the legitimate right of every rational human being.
That's right.
Right. And because I am not an economist, I do not want to even believe the statistics. I don't want to bring the statistics because, as an academic, I do not have adequate information on the sources of the statistics. And once I stand to question the veracity of the statistics, then it will be wrong for me to use those statistics.
Absolutely.
Again, even if I have accurate statistics, time will not permit us to justify the accuracy of these statistics. And therefore, whatever I am saying is based on my own observation, based on my own common sense. And I said common sense should be an entitlement to every rational being. With all due respect to the government and the finance minister, the only thing true about the budget is that it was presented to Parliament. That is the only thing true about it. Any other thing in terms of content is questionable. Any other thing in the budget is highly questionable. It is true that it was presented to Parliament, but the content in its entirety is questionable. But the most horrifying questionable content is the money spent on COVID food. That is the most horrifying questionable content to me. How can 45 million Ghana cedis be spent?
No, 54.
54, sorry. 54 million Ghana cedis be spent on a sample of COVID beneficiaries, just on food. That is highly questionable. I think that should call for an investigation. It should call for an investigation. I doubt it. I see it as something that should be properly investigated in the interest of the people, in the interest of the nation. But if you look at the economic management of both political parties, and with all due respect to my elder brother here, in fact, it brings to the fore the need for a third party in our political dispensation. And I am praying that the party of my fathers, the CPP, should be given the opportunity to test the waters and bring novelty into democratic governance in this country. Let me make it clear that your Alaji Tijani,
Oh, yes.
yes, it's my
Your
third vice chairman.
Yes.
It's my father.
Really?
Yes, in the northern tradition, we do not have paternal uncles.
Yes.
In fact, the paternal uncles are fathers.
Wow.
He and my father are of the same parents.
Wow.
So, in our tradition, he is my direct father.
Oh,
Therefore,
yeah, welcome home.
CPB.
Don't sit home.
That's what I'm saying. The CPP should join the NDC.
No. All right, no. But you know the NDC.
I think you have already spoken, right? The politicians have already spoken. Can we allow the lecturer to also speak?
Honorable, let's allow the yes, please.
That we must chase away the Hannah.
But let me also make it clear. But let me also make it clear that as a concerned Ghanaian, I have my own political loyalty.
All right. Let me read it. Yes. Done. Okay, when you're done.
I mean, I just want to make something. Look, today, borrowing mentality should be an affront to our nationhood. We should not be talking about who borrows more, who doesn't borrow more. No, we should not be talking about. If we had considered the economic model of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, we would have now been celebrating self-reliance instead of dependency mentality. We, at all times, rush to attack the Western hegemonists, but we need to be fair to them. Today, our economy is largely controlled by the benevolence of the European and American taxpayer. Look at the amount of money they spend on our elections. Look at the amount of money they spend on our human rights. Look at the amount of money they spend on our development. Look at the amount of money they spend on our economy. I think these things must stop. And we have the capacity to stop them. We have the resources. So the best we can do is to avoid partisan interests and highlight national interest. if you consider the two political parties, once again, with all due respect to my elder brother, both of them have instances of state-sponsored or state-protected economic criminality. Take, for instance, the Wyoming case. Come and take, for instance, the Men's Gold case. In the case of the Men's Gold, the argument is that people were warned. That yes, people were warned. And that does not at all stop the Attorney General from applying his or her prosecutorial jurisdiction.
Absolutely.
Justice is what we demand. It doesn't matter whether the government warned those people. What matters is that whoever is wronged deserves justice. And if up to now those people are still denied justice, then of course we can classify the warning as mere rhetoric. This should not happen.
Thank you. And justice, they say, is rooted in confidence, and confidence is destroyed if people go to court and think that the decision by the court is biased. And justice must not only be done, it must be undoubtedly and manifestly be seen to be done. So, I mean, talking about justice, I think it's important to also have these things at the back of our mind. Hi, Kwame. Tell Alhaji Marzouk that very soon the competent people will say you are an NDC man. This one is from Abbas in Kumasi. KB from Koforidua says the issue whether a vice president should be economist is neither here nor there. We need people who can think through and allow common sense to prevail. We rather need rational people who can combine all forms of knowledge and can make things happen. KB from Koforidua sent in this particular message. Good morning to you, Kwame. Would you live instead of okay, I don't know, but you said you vote for JMN and Prof. Adam Yusuf Nanyama. My name is Captain Eric, and I've sent the rescue mission a message. Good morning to you, Ghanaians. Rise up now for us to rescue our nation from the super incompetent, self-seeking, arrogant, deceitful, blah 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 government. In fact, I owe John and Jane my thumb. Okay, thank you very, very much for your message this morning. Today, if you want to teach children the meaning of failure, use Nanado's government. Enoch from Media sent in this one. Good morning to you, Kwame. This barbaric government will be voted out of power. They are heartless and wicked. When we are talking of ECOWAS spending one common currency, I beg your pardon. Ghana is now closing the Nigerian shops. You have closed borders, so those here cannot operate to get money to care for their families. So government is quiet over this. There are Ghanaians in Nigeria. What will happen if Nigerians should start attacking our brothers and sisters here? Grace sent in this message. JDM started paying affected DKM customers before leaving government. Why? Solomon from Sunyani says, sent that particular message in. Please come and tell Alhaji the Tema East executives are not working at all. Please, they should be careful. They should take a careful look at it because the youth are very disappointed with the executive in Tema East. Alhaji, more proverbs. I'm taking notes. Bansi one from Tema sent in this particular message. Good morning to you, KOD. Professor Opoku, Dr. Opoku Prempe, Minister of Education, says President Akufo-Addo's government is better than Nkrumah's government. Kindly discuss the Ghana Navy, the Ghana Air Force, Tema, Township, etc. Kai Keori, Ali Mahama could not speak good English, but he was chosen by Akufo as his vice president from Makoko. I don't know what you mean by that.
That is unacceptable.
Please, I don't know what I mean.
That is not fair.
Yeah, no, it's not true. It's never true.
Look, you were saying a graduate from the Kwame Nkrumah
University. My school. My school. You can't say that. You can't. No, it's wrong. Why would you say that? At all. It's unacceptable. In fact, it didn't. You know, sometimes you read the messages before. Please, can you give me Dr. Marzouk's number more time next time? Okay, I'll give Dr. Marzouk more time next time. Good morning to you, the panelists. Today, Pan-African TV made North very proud by wearing Beng Mahi.
No, you're assassinating the language.
Okay. Bingmahi.
Yes. Bangmahi.
Thanks to Mamiama Pratt for MPP. The least you talk about them, the better. John and Jane is magic from Mashtela in Yendi. Why are you thanking Mamiama Pratt?
I told you today, in fact, when I entered, I thought you were one of my sub-chiefs.
I'm a sub-chief. I'm a sub-chief.
It's question who is a chief in
But I'll become a chief soon. 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 Sure. Hi, super fathers. I'm called Lante Emmanuel. It will be sad for a foreigner to say Ghanaians are not competent in the sense that he keeps supporting political parties such as MPP and NDC who have nothing good to offer the country. Goes on and on and on and on and on and on. This one says a military contingent has been deployed to Ketu South. They have lodged them at Anita's hotel at Denu for 2 days. Country broke, country no broke.
We day
inside. Good morning to you, Kwame. Today is Moses' birthday. Happy birthday message to Moses. Moses! Today's a birthday. Hey, Yirimambo! This MPP, no, I'm closing, don't worry, I'm wrapping up. And today is Infoni's birthday. Infoni is a camera person here at Pan African Television, very handsome young man. Infoni's birthday is today, yeah, so today double times, it's tomorrow. Oh, Infoni's birthday is tomorrow, so times 10 the party.
Yes.
This MPP government thinks Ghanaians are fools. The finance minister has to tell Ghanaians why we paid that much to feed them under the lockdown. Thank you very much for your message. My time is up. The producers are giving me pressure. So, okay, all right. So, I mean, the messages are coming in. I've seen John from Ho. Let me do a few messages from Facebook and then I'll wrap up nicely. Sabu, what have you put on? Okay, all right. You've not. I thought you had sent me a message. You know. Anyway, there's just few messages on Facebook, and then we'll wrap up nicely. This morning, I have messages pending. Happy birthday to Elikem Kotoko. Hey, Charlie, my gallant soldier Elikem Kotoko. You're celebrating your birthday today. Happy birthday to you as well. You remember? Yes. Yeah, we're gonna do party for you. The amount we spent on COVID-19 for food, we can give if we could have given each Ghanaian 1 million Ghana cedis. May Allah Almighty save us. Bahama, a fat killer song for Victory 2020 elections. What is that thing? Everybody is saying Bahama Afa, Bahama Afa. What is that?
That's a song.
Do you see how many texts favored MPP? Kwame, you see, I said NDC made the arrangement for what to be made. Someone has confirmed it from Elembele. Bababu from Tamaleke, I admire your outfit. In the midst of the world economic meltdown, President Akufo-Addo's government is still being human with his great policies of giving freebies to alleviate the bad impact of COVID-19 on Ghanaians. That's great leadership. Bababu Petro sent in this particular one. Peter Atta says, Rollins is a normal human being. He's not infallible. People have their own opinions as to how his administration impacted on them. Why are some able to own the good of Rollins and are unable to take the negatives? Rollins agrees he has disagreements with Mills. We saw the press conferences and outbursts. People who quickly put up write-ups to defend everything about Rollins must grow up. It's childish. Hartling Hernandez Zanguo says, Kwame, kindly also read comments from your WhatsApp platform. So many folks are complaining about it. I think today I've done very well. I've read a lot of messages from our WhatsApp platforms as well. Maybe I have a few more text messages. I didn't check text messages, so let me just do text messages. That's right. I see. Yeah, I have 11 pending. Good morning to you, KOD. When your trap catches lies, the result is talkatives. No wonder the MPP communicators have to do more talking. From Al Hassan Z. This one says, KOD, today you are a sub-chief of Yalizoli. You are now a Nodna. Yalizoli.
That's Zabzugu.
Zabzugu. I want every order. I need everything. I need.
You know what it comes around with? Whether you can take it. And you have to get Amma first. It comes with a wife.
It comes with a wife.
Or many wives.
Or many wives. Well, Mr. Pratt wasn't given a wife.
Are you sure?
Was he giving many wives? Kwame, Professor Jane Nana is for the future. When JDM cannot run again, the MPP hasn't got an equivalent to the professor, hence their tantrums. This one says, Kwame just wanted to find out whether Baumia's economist is finished. Because now he's a digital specialist.
It's part of economics.
Every successful man is backed by a wise woman. A woman who could manage a public university can equally manage a country, from Nana Kweku Krobia in Wenchi. And goes on and on and on and on. Mohammed Nyani from Tamale, I've seen your message.
Kwame.
Yes, sir.
He's asking whether Baumia's economist has finished. Somebody was running away from a dispute. They were chasing him and he was in a car. The driver was driving. Then asked the driver, why? Can't you go fast? Are the GS finished?
Anyway, Dr. Marzouk, thank you very much. He doesn't want to be described as a political and governance expert, but that's what he is. He's also a lecturer. And Honorable Abi Husseini, thank you very much for your time today. And Hirimambo, thank you very much. Happy birthday. You are the incoming national organizer. National organizer. And I'll start describing you as Commander 1.
Inshallah.
Commander 1.
The day you hear that I've won the elections, the duopoly in this country, the political duopoly in this country is over.
Sure.
I believe that. I believe that. Hey, somebody says, Kwame, I have sent you Mahama fat plate. You will enjoy it. what song is that? Plate? I don't know. So, Charlie, the message is.
It means Mama has won. Yes, well,
Gabi, let me see Mama this message from. Well, the victory is for JM. One touch victory, you say. Gabi from Tema also says, Ali Mahama was not an economist. He was a contractor by profession, but was a vice president for 8 years and did very well.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Charlie, sorry. Let me read this one. If I don't read it, the guy will kill me. He said, I sent the message as early as 8:21, but you have never read it. Why? I'm reading it for you now. It's not the one who reached and opened the door first, but the one who opened it and held it for others to enter.
Sure.
Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. I pray that the Almighty God blesses the one who has such mentality and has others' prosperity at heart. Some people think that this country called Ghana is for their family and their family property, so they alone have the right to rule. That bogus idea must be erased from their minds. Ghana is for all of us. God bless Ghana. The ticket is JM and Jane. Oheneba Kunedu Yadom, Old Tafo Kumase. And on that note,
that is the epitome of selflessness.
Yeah.
Altruism.
Yeah.
The professor demonstrates.
Good morning to you, Kwame, and your panelists. Dr. Marzouk is very important to something because he speaks for nation and not for himself. Okay. No, people have been asking for your number. I don't know if you can.
Give it 0244 755 402.
Again.
0244 755 402.
Thank you very much for watching the special edition of Good Morning Africa show. My name is Kwame Owusu Danso. You can call me.
Still haven't done the
management. Yes.
Let me be the first to concede that I told Honorable Abi Husseini that I was going to hold the NDC by the balls. Because he made a promise that they were going to pay.
I said we paid. I said that we started paying before we left power.
No, I questioned him because he said that they were going to pay the men's good customers, etc.
Yes. Okay.
And then I said I was going to hold him accountable. I was going to hold him accountable if they came to power and failed to fulfill that promise.
Yes.
And then I cited the DKM example.
Yes.
And asked whether or not they made any. And then he has been vindicated.
Yes.
Nipa de Okuya Bonia. Now I can't the viewers themselves sent in messages and alluded
when periods
and admitted the periods within which the payments were made. How much was
particular amounts that were
it's sending Adena Kakoyano, Abi Husseini.
So you see the difference between the NDC and the PVC, like the ground and the sky. So they are not the same. Abi
Husseini is also not someone or the Abanono. And also so yaka ho asem ha and a special edition of the morning show. I will see you. I know, and I just wanted to have fun. I'll see you guys on Monday with yet another exciting exhilarating edition of Good Morning Africa. Tomorrow, though, you're going to have Al-Haji and Al-Haji, hosted by my good friend and brother who has been tormenting certain people within the political space on social media. Sena Nombo. Sena Nombo. The Lord is my Baba. The Lord is my Baba. Happy birthday again to Yirimambo, and happy birthday in advance to our very own Infoni, the ladies' man. Yeah, very tall. He's about 8 feet tall. Yeah, so you can. I see Adam Charlie. Thanks for extending my time. Justice Apia, thanks for producing the show. To my camera guys, you know when they're behind the camera? Frank Akakpo, Della, and everybody. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys on Monday. I'm a Pratt at the Cam House. Bye.
He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer and the champion of liberty, of human equality.